All my beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. Today I have something a little bit different, which is an ultimate beginner's guide to reading tarot cards. This has been requested, and I also got some of you guys asking me on Instagram if I can do this video. And you know me, I am always delivering. So whether you want to start reading cards, or like you just bought your first deck, or maybe you want to just, go over your overall knowledge, this video might be for you. I am going to go through all these cards and kind of give you my opinion on it. So let's begin. So what are tarot cards? Tarot cards are a tool used to explore and learn about yourself and about the others. They help you read the current energy. Now, whoever tells you that tarot cards are predicting the exact future, they're fucking lying to you, because tarot cards cannot predict the future. Tarot cards will only ever tell you the possibility or like the potential outcome based on the current choices, current energy, and how you feel currently about a certain situations. We make different choices all the time. Energy shifts and changes all the time, so nothing is set in stone, but you can see potential outcomes that are not set in stone, right? So tarot consists of 74 cards, if I'm not mistaken, and it's split between major arcana and minor arcana. Major arcana is these cards. There is 22 cards here, and they all go from number 0 to number 21. These cards often represent or like are telling a story of one life cycle. So everything one soul goes through from the beginning to the end of a journey, of a cycle in their life, or you can think about literal life. So these cards are kind of representing the pivotal points in one's journey. When they show up in our readings, they're often very significant, and they often pull your attention towards them. You can look at these cards as something that is happening within a person, so something internal that is happening on an internal level, right? Now, minor arcanas consist of 4 different suits: swords, wands, cups, and pentacles, and these are kind of outside circumstances, everyday things in life that you can possibly encounter, that can possibly happen for you. They all consist of 14 cards in each suit, so from ace to the king. So when it comes to tarot cards, one thing that you should know about tarot cards is that it is a journey of always learning. So cards often have their usual interpretations, but your knowledge can always be upgraded. You can always learn more about the cards, and throughout your journey, you will see that like symbolism has a lot to do with cards meaning, but when you're reading it intuitively, you're kind of combining your knowledge and the feelings that you feel, which we're going to go over later. The cards themselves are energy, so there is kind of no right or wrong way of reading them. Some people read traditionally, like based on the knowledge that they have, and some people read intuitively. So what cards or imageries make them feel like? The ones who combine tarot knowledge with their original meanings and their intuitive insight are the kind of people that have mastered their craft. So I feel like people who are really good tarot readers, they also, like, aside from reading the cards for you or giving a specific storyline, I feel like they also interpret the meaning of the cards, or like they're explaining the cards as they go. It's kind of, maybe that's my personal opinion, who knows. A lot of people might wonder, like, how do you shuffle? How listen, when it comes to tarot cards, you will connect your tarot cards in a unique way, okay? So meaning that, like, the way that you shuffle is truly unique for you. The way that I shuffle is like this. I don't like to bend them too much, you know? It's like I take two sides and then I let one slide first and then the other. And that makes kind of my motion in the right way, right? However, I've seen people who just like do it like this. I've seen people who shuffle like this. I've also seen people who shuffle on the side like this. There is no right or wrong. Whatever works for you, because your connection to your tarot deck is going to be uniquely to you. Now, the way that you get the cards out, some people like to shuffle and let the card flip out. Look at that, Ace of Pentacles. Valuable information here, babes. Some people like to shuffle like that. Some people, like my sister, for example, she shuffles and then she takes one card, sticks out to her. This is what I'm telling you about creating a unique connection with your tarot deck. Like, this shit is insane. anyways, okay. So however you shuffle is truly like for you, only for you. Now, when it comes to reading tarot, you have a lot of different spreads that you can use. It's really good when you're starting to learn tarot to try out different spreads. Like, literally you search it on Pinterest. There's a lot of different things. You can learn a lot about yourself, a lot about your connection. These are really fun to do. I used to do them all the time. Now I don't so anymore. Like, when I have a question, I can either pull one card or I pull like 4 or 5 cards. The most basic spread that I always love to do is like 5 cards and then clarify the 5 cards, and I kind of have the whole ass storyline. So you might wonder, how do you read intuitively the cards? So for example, you shuffle, and let's say like you take 3 cards. I don't even know. I've seen that a lot of people like to they like to split the cards into 3 and then like do this motion. It is very helpful. It is kind of like how cards are shuffled, like how you shuffle it and then you like split into 3. You can also, like, when you're shuffling, if you want to clear the energy a little bit, you can blow at them. I've seen people do that too. I sometimes do it too, like literally just like out of the fucking nowhere. I don't know why. Sometimes like I just do, you know what? I do what I feel called to do at a time. Same goes for cleansing. Like, if you want to clear the energy, you can like do this 3 times, right? To kind of set the energy in stone, if you will. But when it comes to clearing the cards, it is helpful to do them whenever you intuitively feel called to. You don't have to do it every Sunday. You don't have to do it every day. Actually, a lot of clearing the cards will confuse the shit out of the cards. Probably. Also, if you ask the same question 7,000 of times, it will always give you the same answer in a different form. So like, don't torture your tarot deck. It has energy, soul. Like, it has a soul. Now, when it comes to cleansing your tarot cards, you can do many different ways. I do briquettes and resin right now, as of right now. My favorite thing for cleansing is Palo Santo. Palo Santo is like a tree that smells amazing. It smells so beautiful. Like, I love it. People use sages as well. People use lavender. They use like those fragrance sticks as well. You can also dip them in salt. I've seen people do that as well. Like, they would take the cards and they would put them in a bag with salt and leave it overnight. That is also like a cleansing ritual. There is many cleansing rituals, but you know, the salt rituals are really, I guess, really deeply like protective, and because salt is protection, and it is probably very nice, but it will damage your cards over time. Damaging your cards, I would not advise you to do this, like to bend them like shit, because they will become very stiff. I don't like bending them. When I shuffle like this, I try to like let it just flow, right? Also, you can charge your cards, which is really interesting. I have experienced that charging is real, very real, like letting them out on the sun. And you can also take a crystal. I like to put this one on my cards. It's the green aventurine stone. I often keep this on this card. I have had a lot of crystals on myself, and I have, as I said before, I gave them all away, and this was the only one that literally stayed with me because I forgot about it. I put it in one place and I forgot about it, and I found it. I was like, damn, So you can put like a crystal on the cards and leave it there. So you can charge like your cards with different frequencies. You know, Green Aventurine is often like about abundance, about the path, about the groundedness, the heart chakra and energy like that. So I really love that this crystal specifically stayed with me. It makes sense to me. I also like, you can put, yeah, as I said, put them out in the sun. You're kind of charging your cards. When I do charge my cards, I find out, I actually, I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but like when I charge my cards and when I shuffle them, and the first reading that I do after I have charged my cards, the cards are flying out. The cards are speaking like loud. So that's really lovely. Also, one more thing is that like some people say that you shouldn't buy your own tarot decks, or you shouldn't buy yourself your own first tarot deck. You should let somebody buy that for you, which, you know, it is all your own beliefs, your own perception. Like, if you want to believe that, sure. I have bought many tarot decks for myself. The first one that I had last time, I bought it for myself, the Rider-Waite, the original one. However, this one my sister bought me for my birthday. This was only like these are original. These are kind of like ordered online, like on a I don't even know where. I haven't asked, but these are very original. And how do you know that the cards are original is by having this sign over here. See that? Those are kind of like indicators of like and when you're learning cards, it's helpful to have the original Rider-Waite, so you can pick up on everything, and then you go and you can buy, you know, custom tarot decks, and like a lot of there's a lot of beautiful like custom decks online. I personally as of right now, use only this one. And I personally think that like you can read anything and everything with just one set of cards. You don't need 10,000 of cards and oracles on you. It is just about more information, more specific guidance, more specific things. And it's very fun. It's very aesthetically pleasing, right? Especially to the audience, especially to the person that you're maybe doing a reading for. It's just like that. So aside from that, I see that a lot of people say that you shouldn't let anybody else hold your cards. I see this aversion online where, like, you know, when you're shuffling or like when you're doing a reading for somebody, sometimes people like to let the person shuffle the cards as well, shuffle the cards for them a little bit, just like for cards to get their energy. It is a mindful practice. It is a powerful practice. You can do it. Again, as I say, it is about personal perception. There are people online that are like, I can't stand when somebody touches my cards, which I feel like is a very all or nothing mentality, because the cards are yours. The cards are your energy. The cards, like, you rule over them. They're your specific tool. Nobody can steal your power, or nobody can steal your energy or mesh with your energy if you don't allow it to. Some people don't need to fucking light a candle to have their power intact. I personally can have anybody touch my cards, and I don't care, because I hold the power over them. I am the authority here. Like, and often people who hate other people touching their stuff, especially spiritual stuff, I feel like they don't have a very stable sense of ground. They're either not very grounded, or they're not really still in the full potential and full power of their practice. Because if they were, they would understand that, like, you maneuver your own power. Nobody can manipulate or intertwine with your powerful tools unless you let them, unless you believe that it can affect your performance or your tools. Other than that, it really can't. Everybody has a different way of reading the cards, and you will find yours. You will find yours somewhere along the way. But like, we should try to teach people sovereignty with these. We should try to teach people emotional stability, tranquility, and intelligence, not sell them a fucking story that will feed their fucking ego. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, lastly, let me tell you about how to read intuitively. So, for example, let's take 3 cards. Let's take 3 cards. Let's take the moon, for example. Okay. So, when you have 3 cards like this, for example, 3 cards, and somebody is asking you a certain question, So the way that a person would read, like, you know, for example, the meaning of all these three cards. However, when you're reading intuitively, you are being called to look at what is the card that is firstly attracting your attention. Where is your attention being attracted to the first time that you open your cards? If it's, for example, the Empress, then this reading is probably centered about abundance. With the King of Pentacles as well, confirming that. Maybe emotional abundance, maybe hidden aspects, you know, with the Moon. These two, like, you're looking at the major arcanas most likely, most of the time. Major arcanas are really about, like, pivotal points or internal shifts and, like, something significant, while the minor arcanas are always, like, the kind of, like, the outside circumstances or, like, everyday mundane things. So when you have, like, a spread of, like, even 10 cards, where is your attention being pulled towards? What does the spread make you feel like? What feelings is it giving you? The power of reading the cards intuitively is truly looking at the cards, the feelings that it gives you, and debunking those feelings, debunking them in a way that you can communicate them. So if you're pulling out, like, is he cheating on me? And, like, you pull the cards and you feel like a sting in your chest and you're like, oh my God, I think this person might actually cheat on you. Don't hold back that information. It will save a life. It will save somebody's life. Don't sugarcoat your tarot readings. Be very discerned, very honest, especially when it comes to a little bit of shadow sides of tarot. Now I'm gonna go through each and every card, and I'm gonna kind of intuitively tell you what I feel and what I think about each card, because I feel like this way we're gonna go fast through these, so it gives you a base, so you kind of have the idea of the cards themselves. Before we start, I think you already know that each card has an upright meaning and a reversed meaning. For my beginners, I would advise you to firstly learn all the uprights, because the reversals then will make much more sense and it will be easier to navigate that in your readings. I often don't use reversals. I shuffle only the uprights, and when the reversals come out, they often they often signify either a blocked energy of the current one, the opposite of the current one, but it's often other cards around it that are also telling a story. In readings, you don't really even need reversals, to be honest with you, because the cards will tell you a story. The cards will tell you a story in an upright, just as if that you were using the reversals. But, you know, diversity is fun, I guess. So I'm going to start with major arcana. Here I have written something on this paper just so I can be faster and more efficient and tell you about these cards. So let's start. So we have the Fool beginning. So the Fool is ruled by the planet Uranus, and it signifies new beginnings, spontaneity, freedom, and taking a leap of faith. So when we look at this card often in readings comes up when there is new beginnings, new cycles opening up. It's often the kind of new beginnings where it's very unexpected, or like you have never traveled this journey before. It is completely new to you. It can also signify taking a leap of faith, or, you know, trusting that the universe will catch you. You can see this guy kind of jumping off the cliff, literally, and he's kind of looking up. He's a little bit careless. This can sometimes, you know, this card can sometimes indicate naivety or like foolishness. But this guy, he is supported. We have the Sun here, so he decided to take a leap of faith, to take a journey into the unknown, and, you know, jump. Also, we have a little dog here, which is telling me that, you know, there is loyalty to his path. This little flower is also giving me the energy of that the beauty of the path, I guess. We never really, you know, a lot of cards you will feel called to the symbolism sometimes. And you can see that he's carrying this kind of like stick in a little like a little bag. So this is telling me that he doesn't have a lot, but he's still kind of deciding to take that journey, right? So in the new beginnings, it is also kind of the energy of like, you don't know, or like if you're starting a new job or starting you don't have much knowledge, but you're willing to learn, you're willing to go that path. Mountains here behind, you know, mountains in tarot cards often represent challenges and traversing those challenges. Yellow, then colors are also significant in tarot. They indicate, like, you know, when you're reading tarot cards, your eyes will be pulling you towards certain things. Maybe you will notice a lot of yellows. Yellow is connected to joy, happiness, sun, solar plexus chakra, confidence, visibility, and so on. So yeah, the Fool can also sometimes signify traveling, traveling across the seas, like also, was it like vacations and stuff like that? But in any case, it is a new beginning that is completely new, and you're stepping into it. It is the beginning of something. Okay. So then we have the Magician. The Magician is a Mercury card. It is connected to manifestation, communication, skill, intellect, and creation. Yes, so when we look at the Magician here, you can see that there is a lot of these flowers around him. So he is very much in the abundant energy. When we see these, like when we see flowers and roses and stuff like that, it really gives this feeling of abundance, I guess. So when you look close at him, this card is very much connected to as above, so below, so within, so without, especially with that snake biting its tail. It is very connected to, I think, Kundalini, or like the coiled snake, which ancient people believed, or like Hindu people believe that it is connected to creativity. So this card is a lot about creation, manifestation, having the tools, having the skills. It is the card of the conscious mind. So the creator of the conscious mind. When this card appears in tarot, it often represents a powerful energy, a powerful person, somebody who creates, somebody who is able to manifest something. You can see that on this table there is all swords, the swords, the wands, the cups, and the pentacles. This often indicates that this person has everything that they need on this journey to manifest whatever it is. So the Fool is kind of, you know, spontaneous, going into it, but the Magician is the one that, you know, starting from nothing, has acquired something that is now helping him on his path. It is the first, number one, the first step, the mastery of the path, or like gaining information, gaining what you need to continue, right, to create. With these elements here, this is also telling you like the person has the idea, they have the action that they need to take, or like the passion towards it, they're emotionally invested, and they probably have resources. Now the infinity sign here on his head is very interesting, because it is telling you, you know, the human mind is infinite. It is the power of the consciousness. So infinity signs are often about alignment, entanglement, spiritual knowledge, also like balance. So this person is kind of in the balanced space of mind, and they're traversing this. I love to connect the Magician with communication as well, with clarity, willpower, and overall, I feel like the power to create the life that he wants. Really lovely. So then we have the baby girl, the High Priestess. We love her. So the High Priestess is connected to the moon. She signifies intuition, mystery, divine feminine, and inner knowing. So when the Magician is the conscious mind, the High Priestess is the subconscious mind. So she is the deeper energy, the divine feminine energy. So this is kind of divine masculine energy, and this is divine feminine energy. The High Priestess often signifies intuition and inner knowing. Also things that are hidden aspects. In the subconscious realm, it can also represent hidden fears. In the reading, it often points to intuition. It can sometimes indicate things that are not fully seen yet, things that you're not supposed to know maybe yet. It can also signify a person or a feminine energy that is really connected to her inner knowing. You can see that she is holding this like little thing, which is called Torah. It's almost like Akashic Records is the old it's the knowing of the old world. So this is someone who is led by intuition, who is led by truth, deeper inner knowing and inner understanding. So this card is really about, you know, maybe not following some kind of a conventional knowledge or spiritual guidance from maybe like, you know, traditional matters like church and stuff. It is led by your inner knowing. It can also talk about dreams, you know, subconsciously. When you look at it, it is intuition. It is intuitive insight. I said that probably 5 times right now, but I love the High Priestess. Now, you know what is interesting? The High Priestess, however, the story of this High Priestess is actually, she was the first High Priestess back in the day. I think her name was Yovana. And the story goes like this. She basically disguised as a priest, and she was sharing her divine knowledge. So just so you know a little bit of a backstory. And in this card, you can see kind of that she's standing, and she's kind of like behind her is this thing and the 2 of these pillars, which are signaling that yin and yang, that balance, that also like a gate. So she is basically kind of protecting the gate to the subconscious realms. And under, like, on the other side, you can kind of see like there's maybe like some planes behind, or like just like a plane. It is kind of like the signal of the subconscious. And you can also see these pomegranates or whatever they are here on this, and they're kind of like signaling the abundance of the inner world. It is very powerful feminine energy at play. So yeah, then we have the Empress. You know, Empress is now divine. Now it is the feminine energy, the earthy feminine energy, again with the Emperor. While these are more like the mind, more of the inner world, the feminine and masculine energy of the inner world, these are kind of the physical world, the Emperor and the Empress, the mother, the father. Sometimes people like to believe that these first cards can represent birth. So it is the new beginning, or like stepping into something. Then the kind of like the creation of life in the womb. And then we have some hormone work. And then we have the Empress, the mother, the birth of new. So the Empress is connected to the planet Venus. You can also see the planet Venus here, the sign. And she's connected to beauty, abundance, love, creativity, and fertility. So if you look at this card, you can see that there is abundance around this queen. She is the Empress. She's the ultimate queen. So we have 4 queen suits in the tarot, like the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles. Well, the Empress is the ultimate queen. She possesses the power of all the 4 queens and the balance between them. You know, this sign here, or like what she's holding, and her like stars on her crown are kind of representing that feminine power. She is also like, when she shows up in the readings, she often talks about abundance and prosperity, creativity, creating something. Also because she's kind of pregnant in this, like birthing a new life, birthing new ideas. The nature around her as well is connected to that feminine energy of like connectedness to this material world. She's a very soft energy, soft leader. She's the attractor. And she represents beauty. You know, Venus is a planet of beauty. You can also connect this to the signs of Libra and Taurus. However, this is strictly like a Venus card. Zodiac signs in tarot are more like personality traits, while the overall energies are kind of the planets, right? So you can see that this kind of like, these kind of crops are grown and it's ready for harvest. This can also represent harvest. This card has a lot to do with confidence. So when this card kind of appears, this is also sometimes indicating that you're birthing ideas that are going to be very fruitful. It is the sign of abundance. I love this card. When it's talking about a specific person, it often talks about somebody who is very gorgeous, very, very intuitive, very intellectual, somebody who rules with softness, who rules with soft authority that is felt and that is kind of you know, energetically demanding attention, demanding authority. I love that the stars on her head, it's kind of like giving that, you know, inner knowledge of the feminine. And yeah, like, we love to see her. We love to see her in every reading. She is the beginning of the new life. And she is beauty, confidence, all that earthy feminine energy, you know. Okay, so now we have the Emperor. The Emperor is, again, the ultimate king of all the kings, all 4 kings combined in a tarot. And it is the sign of Aries. We have this card connected to leadership, authority, structure, control, and ambition. So this card often in the reading signifies that masculine authority, somebody who is ruling over his world with balance, with calm presence. This is a very powerful inner strength moment of like the masculine energy. These two that he's holding is kind of giving him the authority. He's on his throne. You can see also the Aries heads here. And also his legs are kind of like out, which is signifying that authority moment, that like openness, or kind of like the balance. He's in a red. Red is the, you know, the color of, you know, power. And also the oranges are also giving that confidence, that sacral energy, also root energy. So this is somebody who is very stable, very grounded. He's the father archetype. You can see that his face looks a little bit like angry, which is giving him the sense of like, you know, don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. You can also see the mountains behind him. The mountains often in this card represent that this is someone who has traversed very difficult terrains and has overcome the challenges that were behind him, and this is why he's on his throne. This card, when it pops out, it can represent a masculine energy. It can represent a father figure. It can represent somebody who is in control. This card can also indicate a need for structure, discipline, organization in a way that works. So when you know that certain routines, that certain things, the way that you approach certain projects works, you need to stick with it. This card can also sometimes talk about control. So needing to control certain things, or feeling like you need to control the outcomes. However, there is a point where control can be healthy, and there is a point where control can be very destructive. So yeah, the father. And you might notice that, like, I'm talking to you about symbolism this way. It's kind of easier to remember. This is how I personally go about it. But as I said before, there is so much you can learn about tarot cards through symbolism, through colors, through random things that they're holding, and like just like what they're wearing. Everything has its own meaning, and in readings you will probably feel kind of called to certain things, and you can go from there. That's how you intuitively kind of read the cards. So now we have the Hierophant, the number 5, and the Hierophant is connected to the sign of Taurus. It is connected to tradition, values, commitment, teaching, and spirituality. So the Hierophant represents the spiritual teachings. It is often connected to tradition, so traditional matters such as church, Christianity, stuff like that. There is a lot of Christian kind of like energy here. The Papa, or like, what do you call that? I don't even know. He is the bearer of spiritual knowledge. He is the teacher. And so you can see this sign, that he's holding, and this is kind of like the, I think it is the spiritual knowledge, the power symbolism. And his other hand is kind of like doing that. You can see that in a lot of those, like we call it icons. Like icon. A lot of in a lot of like, I'm just gonna pop it right here. I don't even know. I don't remember. So when this card pops up, it often talks about some kind of a conventional way of doing things, teachings that are known. It's not much about like you know, the high priestess is kind of that inner knowledge, the spiritual part, but the Hierophant is kind of followed by rules, followed by Bible, followed by traditional matters. It can also signify commitment. It can signify relationships where there are same values and beliefs that are being shared. These two people kind of represent the students. So this person is kind of like the teacher and they're the students. They're again in the red, so they hold the sense of power, the sense of authority. This card is very much about conventional things, so like things that are already taught through generations. It's not much about that spiritual woo-woo shit. This is really like the often in relationship readings, this card can represent, traditional marriage energy, or like marriage in church. You can talk about like traditional matters, conventional ways of doing things. It is kind of lacking that freedom of spiritual energy, but it is here. It is the teacher. This can also represent, learning something, your spiritual knowledge, spiritual mastery, connections, commitments, that share the same values and beliefs. Yeah. So then we have the Lovers. The Lovers as my most misunderstood card in this deck. So the Lovers is the sign of Gemini, of course. It represents duality, choice, relationships, alignment, and connection. So the Lovers shows up when there's connections at hand. You see it a lot. It is the divine connection. It is something that is led by the universe. You've got some angels assisting you here. It is talking about the feminine and the masculine aspects of life. It can talk about your masculine and feminine energy, the duality within us. It can talk about, your soulmates, your twin flames, whatever. But it is the card, at its core, it's the card of choice. It is the choice of the heart. It is the kind of connection that is greatly influenced by the choices. So the kind of connection that you can choose to end it, or you can choose to be in that connection. It's kind of like those significant connections that don't just pass us by, but rather have like maybe multiple outcomes, or like basically you influence this connection. This connection is a mirroring connection. It can talk about that. Yeah, that mirror, definitely that connection that teaches you things, that is divinely orchestrated in some form of way. So the angel about these is definitely giving that energy of this connection being divinely guided. Again, that mountain is the challenge. The connection is a challenge. It is a choice. We have Adam and Eve here. So the masculine and the feminine. You can see the trees behind here. So we have the snake here, and we have the fire on this side, which is kind of giving that masculine, feminine, historical moment energy. So when this card shows up, it often represents a crossroad, a choice, a connection that is very significant for your growth, that is teaching you lessons, probably the connection that is being chosen. So you choose to be in this connection, whether it's challenging or not, which oftentimes it is. You have the choice to walk away from this connection if you want to, but you can also make it work. So it is about what you choose, what you truly choose at the end. So like all of your choices kind of contribute to the outcome of the connection. So now we have the Chariot. The Chariot is Cancer energy, or like Cancer sign. So this card is about that determination, willpower, emotional control, and a sense of direction. Yeah. So Chariot, when it shows up in our readings, Chariot kind of talks about a sense of direction, willpower to move towards something. It is a card of like, a leadership in some sort of way, or like having control over your emotions, having control over your world. You can see that behind here we have some like towers, or like a city. So this person has a city behind him, so they have already kind of achieved something, or they're moving towards bigger achievement. You see these two kind of like duality as well, again about that balance and alchemy. So this person kind of has to make both of these kind of work. The Chariot, like the mind and the action, the willpower, the intuition to work together for him to move the Chariot, to move forward. This card often is about, you know, moving towards something, charging towards your goals, having the willpower to do so, also being in control of a certain situation, in a good way, I want to say, in a good way. So he seems like he is in some form of a position. This card can sometimes also indicate a strong position in something that that is being done. He also is holding that, like, that wand, like from as above so below, so it's giving him a little bit of authority over his world, over the situation. It's interesting that we have some Egyptian kind of like moments here, but in all sense, this card is, when it pops up, it often tells you that, like, whatever it is that you're going towards, you got to charge towards it. You got to commit to that path. It is the commitment of one's path energy. Ooh. Now we have the Strength, my dear Leo card, showing inner strength, courage, compassion, confidence, and the heart. So this card is really about that inner power, the quiet confidence, leading with inner strength, leading with calmness and compassion. This woman is kind of literally like closing the lion's mouth. So it's kind of like it's kind of the controlled ego, or like dimming down the ego so the power can shine. She also has the infinity sign on her head, which is giving her the balance, that like emotional, physical, mental balance in the situation. And this card can often indicate in readings like inner power, strength to do something, also like confidence in whatever you're doing, or like a need for confidence. It is the number 8, again, the infinity symbol. I love when I get this card. It's giving the warmth to readings. And, you know, we love the lady that is taming a lion. So it might be about taming your inner animal, right? And controlling it, steering it in the direction that you want. This card is very balanced, very calm, compassionate power, the quiet power, not the loud, egoistic power, but the quiet power. Of course, in reverse can talk about ego, but you know, we're not talking about we're not talking about that right now. So now we have the Hermit card. So the Hermit here is ruled by Virgo. Introspection, wisdom, solitude, analysis, guidance. So this card often talks about reflection, a need to go inward, a need to look within your inner world. You can see this kind of like, it looks like a nomad, or it looks like somebody who has traversed a lot. They look like they're at the top of a mountain. So they're at the top of their world, kind of, and they have the ability to look within. This person also has a little star in their lantern, so they're following inner guidance, they're following the star, they're following their dreams, they're following a purpose of a kind. This card always calls you to look inward. It can also indicate a period of isolation, or needing to self-isolate, needing to distance yourself, and just like, I feel like kind of look what is within you. This card is, again, inner guidance and somebody who has a lot of wisdom. So this can also indicate somebody who is very knowledgeable, very spiritually evolved to a point. It is also a number 9, which is close to a cycle. So this card can also indicate like a like almost there kind of energy, almost ending of a cycle. 9s are also kind of endings of the cycles because numerologically you go from 1 to 9, and then you have 10, which is again 1. So it's kind of like a period of time of introspection that is needed to move forward, and also following that star. Now we have the Wheel of Fortune, the 10 energy. So the Wheel of Fortune is ruled by Jupiter. It represents luck, expansion, destiny, cycles, and opportunity. So there is a lot of things going on in here. You can always, go and learn about all the symbolism. This card talks about cycles of life, things that are shifting, cycles shifting, things changing. In readings can often signify a pivotal point, a closing of something and a beginning of new things. It can represent cycles of good luck. It can represent divine intervention or something happening out of your control. When this card appears, it's often about things that are happening that you cannot control. So it's kind of like whatever is happening is fated. This card is a lot about faith. And you can see these kind of things here. So the signs that are kind of in this card are Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. So these signs are kind of connected to this card. You can also kind of like see the devil here. I don't know what that figure is. So, and also the snake and this like swings here. So it's basically talking about the polarity in the life, you know, all the different things that we can experience. It can also signify a cycle of a kind, or something that also can represent something that is repeating. Sometimes can talk about like the patterns that are being repeated, or something, as I said, divinely happening for a divine reason. You know, this is a card that is reminding you that cycles of life are always shifting. There are going to be good periods and there are going to be bad periods, but in all truth, that's just how life is. Sometimes we go on this side with this red guy. Sometimes we're in this calm, I guess. Sphinx represents, I guess, knowledge and power. That like it is telling you that life is not linear. And yeah, like shifts and changes, often changes in life. Whew. And we have the Justice. We love our beautiful Justice. So the Justice is ruled by Libra, or in the sign of Libra. It talks about truth, fairness, karma, balance, accountability, and decision. So when the Justice comes out, she can sometimes signify a decision making, a choice that is needed to be made. She's holding her sword kind of upward, which is telling us that she hasn't made a decision yet. She's also having the scales, so she's balancing. She's kind of connecting the dots. She is almost like the judge energy, where she is picking up all the evidence that she needs in order to make a clean decision. Justice represents decisions that are made on fairness, so detached from emotions. These kind of decisions are often connected to maybe some legal situations, like literally judges and like, I don't even know, like being in a court or some shit. It can also represent a need for clear thinking, for clarity, for preciseness. You can see her face, she's kind of like low-key serious. She also has she's also covered in this red cloth, which is giving her the sense of power and authority. You can see one of her legs a little bit peeking out, which is again the balance between seen and unseen. And yeah, she's kind of like guarding here. She's some kind of a point of authority, you know. This card, when it shows up in the readings, it often can talk about needing to be truthful, needing to be honest, needing to speak your truth, needing to make a decision of a kind, also cut through bullshit. And it is the card of fairness, the karma. It can represent karma, karmic cycles. If it's paired with some relationship cards, it can talk about the karmic relationships that are often here to teach us lessons, to, you know, to push us to be truthful, honest, fair, and better. So yeah, Justice is a very powerful card. She is often a little bit overlooked, but she is powerful, a powerful decision maker with clarity and truth. Also, sometimes in tarot cards, Justice can be the number 8 as well, and the Strength can be number 11. Sometimes they switch it up. I don't even know why. It is kind of a traditional thing. So if you see it, or if you have a tarot deck that has these two switched up, trust me, it's nothing. It's nothing. Actually, I think just the numbers are changed. Or like, what? Is it? Yes. I had one tarot card. I think I had one tarot deck. I believe it was the Wild Unknown Animal tarot deck. And it had switched kind of the numbers. So just so you know, it's nothing to be worried about. So now we have the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is ruled by Neptune. It is the card of surrender, perspective shift, sacrifice, and spiritual pauses. So this card, when it appears in readings, it often, more than not, talks about, yes, like looking at something from a different perspective. This person is kind of hanged and they're forced to look at something upside down, which is kind of giving them this like light on the head, some kind of an awakening, understanding, realizations. This card can talk about like aha moments as well. It can signify pauses. It can signify periods of rest or periods of nothing happening, or you needing to pause, needing to surrender certain situation. It can also talk about sacrifice, depending on what cards are around it as well. So this pause is also that he's having is also kind of giving like the energy of like a cross. So it sometimes can talk about that spiritual understanding, spiritual pause, spiritual knowledge. And yeah, this card, when it pops out in the readings, it is either a pause, a shift, an awakening, seeing something differently, or needing a different perspective on something. And it often calls you to stop, to kind of pause, slow down, and find a different way of approaching a certain situation, especially if you're facing a situation that is kind of like you can't resolve it. It's because some kind of a shift of perspective is needed here. Then we have the Death card. The Death card, people get scared of this card, but she is really just a rebirth. She's just really like, and not literal death, like, oh my God, but like endings and new beginnings. So Death is, of course, the Scorpio card, and it talks about transformation, endings, rebirth, intensity, and release. So Death card in tarot readings represents an ending of a kind. So something like a pivotal moment that has ended. It is often transformative energy. So something transforming, something changing, shifting. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think this sign here, it is the sign of transformation. You can see this guy being literally like a skeleton. And you can see the priest kind of like, or these people, they're kind of praying, or it seems like they're kind of begging for mercy or some shit. I don't even know. The death, the death is kind of like the energy of like something had to end, right? Like you couldn't escape the fact that something has ended, that something has shifted. But if you see behind here, you can see these two kind of towers, which are leading up to Tower card. It's almost like we're going there anyway, 2 cards ahead. And the sunrise here is telling you that even though something has ended, if you can see, people have died here, basically. Even though something is ending, a new beginning or new day is rising here. So it is talking about that a spiritual shift, right? It is a point of no return. So something needed to end for something new to begin. This card often talks about new beginnings as much as about endings. It is a rebirth of energy, a different perspective of looking at things, and kind of, the horse is symbolism of the horse is like power and kind of like glory, or like the greatness. So there is power in endings. It doesn't have to mean literal endings. Depending on what cards are around you, maybe it does. Sometimes yes, depending on, as I said, the cards around it. But it's often about inner transformation. So some kind of a shift or a change. Something that has been going on cannot go anymore like this, so it's ending for a divine reason. It is a new day. And also somewhere here is like that fucking cave, which I forgot. It's interesting. When you're learning tarot cards, it's very lovely because you can always improve your knowledge by learning about symbolism. You can see a lot of things are happening here. Like, what the fuck is this sign? I'm gonna have to Google it, literally. But somewhere behind here, there was some form of a cave, like right here or something. You can also see a little boat, which like literally, crossing the wall, something like a crossing of a kind. I hope you understand me. I hope this makes sense. But there was like a cave somewhere here, which somebody said that like it represents, that unknown, the deep, hidden, like aspects of why something is happening, right? So anyways, let's move forward. So something has ended, and then we have the Temperance card. This one is my card, the Sagittarius card. It talks about balance, moderation, flow, higher purpose, and alignment. So you can see this angel. It often represents, I think, Archangel Gabriel or Raphael. This card, again, is about balance. It is about moderation. It is about patience and time. So when it appears in the readings, it can sometimes signify a need for balance, a need for, if you have two paths, to choose the middle one. You can see also this person kind of, or like this angel, they're kind of like doing that thing, and this card is the strongest card of alchemy, of transforming or transmuting energy, transmuting something. It is also about maybe having two things and creating into one. So the power of creation, in a sense, like implementing the balance. Sagittarius is, they're very good at this. Sagittarius people are very balanced. They have a balanced approach, and I can tell you that firsthand. Like, they often go for the middle road. They're not kind of, depending on your chart, but like the true pure Sagittarius is kind of like needing the balance in everything, even in the cooking. So you can see again the new dawn here, a new beginning. Or you can look at this as a sunrise or a sunset. You can also see that he's 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on earth. So there's a balance between emotions and the physical realm, which is giving again that energy of balance and patience. In readings, it definitely signifies like a need for patience. It also can represent time, that something at hand needs time to unfold. But it is alchemy. It is the power of transmuting situations, of choosing to go the middle road, of choosing to not go into extremes, but rather be very balanced in the approach of the situation. In the connections or relationships, it can talk about a connection that is kind of going well, or like having like a very calm and balanced approach, or it needs that. In any case, this guy, I love Temperance because sometimes in readings, you can always interpret it intuitively. So sometimes this makes me feel like angels are around you, or like there's angelic presence or divine intervention in whatever is happening. And also his third eye is kind of highlighted here. So even though his eyes are closed, he still kind of looks like, it seems like he sees the truth, and there's like this light shining about his head. So the power of the mind, the power of combining, mutualizing, like the power of alchemy, truly. Sagittarius is our alchemists, so we choose the middle road. We don't go into extremes. We love the middle ground in everything. So yeah. Then we have the Devil card. The one more card that people are kind of like, but let's see. So the Devil is, of course, in the sign of Capricorn. My favorites. I love Capricorns. So this card can talk about attachment, control, materialism, temptations, the shadow. So this one, you can kind of see that it is similar to, maybe a little bit similar to Adam and Eve card, or like the Lovers card, with these two again being here, but it's kind of like after the deed, I guess. Now it's kind of, I think in this card, it's Lilith and the other guy. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. In the readings, this card can talk about, it can talk about like toxic patterns, limiting beliefs. It can talk about fears. It can talk about control, the power, materialism, need for control, need for, like it can talk about, like toxic relationships or toxic patterns in relationships. It can also talk about, the devil energy. The devil is kind of like the state of mind that you're in. Like if something is bothering you, it is something that is very it is an illusion. It is an illusion of maybe fear or a challenge, because if you look closely here, these two people are tied by the chain here. However, these chains are very, very loose. So these people have the ability to take those chains off and walk away from this situation, but they choose not to. They choose to stay here in devil energy. So the devil can also talk about, you know, sex. It can talk about passion, like intense feelings. It can talk about obsession, or like really like those lower frequency energies. It is also sometimes signaling like power dynamics, or like greed, or a need for all those pretty shiny things, but nothing is as it seems to be. You know, it also that energy of like, you know, having a devil on your shoulder telling you to do things, but it's also but it's actually like, it's actually just like your mind going into something. You know, as I said, it can talk about, you know, maybe being addicted to something. You have the ability to leave, but you choose not to, right? So yeah, this card talks about all those kind of lower frequency situations, not about the devil like as an entity itself. Please don't scare yourself with that shit. It is like the, you know, as I like to say, is hell is not a real place. Hell is a state of mind. So yeah, now we have the Tower. Now it's interesting because these two cards are kind of like, what goes up must come down, because if you choose to stay in devil energy, the next card after this is the Tower, which is destruction, or like something abruptly ending, shocking events. So this often in readings, or like when they come out together, it's because these two cards can sometimes signal like you have been in devil energy. You have been maybe in a toxic pattern, a toxic relationship. You didn't listen. You didn't leave the situation, and the outcome, or like the next thing that happened, had to collapse. Whatever it is, it had to collapse. So starting with the Tower again, the Tower is the Mars, ruled by planet Mars, and it represents chaos, destruction, sudden change, awakening, and shocking energy, right? So the Tower moments in tarot decks are truly like the pivotal points of something that was built on shaky grounds, on shaky foundations, and it needed to collapse. When the Tower happens, it's often a rebirth. It's often very freeing, because only in a Tower moment do we feel like everything is falling apart, like there is chaos, there is destruction. You know, with this crown kind of falling off, there is a false sense of stability or authority or leadership, and for one way or the other, divine intervention. Tower is divine intervention. Whatever was happening had to end abruptly. It can talk about something that was built within us, like let's say a set of beliefs, and you realize that those are limiting you, or in some way are your choices and the things that you believed so far has led to some kind of a catastrophic outcome or chaotic outcome. These moments often happen in our lives for the sake of transformation, for the sake of learning, for the sake of rebuilding. So the Tower is not always bad, though. The Tower can talk about very unexpected events happening. Depending on the cards around it, again, you can see that maybe sometimes Towers are good moments, sometimes are shakeups, sometimes are wake-up calls. They were like, holy shit, I just realized something out of fucking nowhere. In relationships, I can talk about pivotal points where like a relationship cannot go or stand any further. It needs to be resurrected. It needs to be rebuilt, because whatever the foundations were of the connection so far, it doesn't work. This card often comes up in karmic relationships, or in toxic relationships, or in relationships that are maybe built on intimacy rather than love. Often people, you are with somebody, you sleep with somebody, whatever, but you don't get to know them that much. And so like there comes a pivotal point where you understand that you need more, maybe that you need more structure or more communication, more of something. The Tower, very powerful energy, because it changes us. It makes us realize something that we're avoiding. The Tower can come in when you're avoiding something, and it often shows you that like you're literally struck by lightning, literally struck by fucking lightning. And these two people that are falling here, the one is falling in literal despair and the other one chose to jump. So this can indicate somebody who triggered an awakening, who triggered a tower moment. In love readings, as again, or like generally, somebody might trigger the tower energy. Like there might be a person involved here, or it is just something that has triggered a need for the old way of doing things, old way of being falling apart, so you can build a new. Because after that we have the Star. The Star card. I love the Star card. You a star, baby. You a star. If you watch me and support me, I love you so much. You're my star. You're literally my star. So anyways, the Star is Aquarius, of course. My Aquariuses. So this card talks about renewal, healing, emotional balance. It talks about wish fulfillment. It talks about individuality, authenticity, vulnerability with that naked body. So after the Tower, after something has crumbled, here goes the Star. It happens, the healing happens, the inner healing happens. So the Star, when it comes out in readings, it can often signify like some kind of a wish that is going to be fulfilled. It can represent the star energy, or like a star in person, like being very authentic, very individual, very original in something. It is also about emotional renewal. It is hopeful energy. It can represent hope for the brighter days, better things coming, very positive energy and very lovely energy. When it shows up in the readings, we have 8 stars. So 8 again is that kind of like balance restored. You can also see this person kind of like pouring the water between the earth and this like little thing, and his leg, or like her leg, is again one in the water, one on the earth, which is signifying that balance between emotions and the physical, or like emotions. I want to say emotions and actions, but it's really like emotions that are grounded. So tranquility of the emotions. We see a lot of this blue energy, this like almost like turquoise, a little bit of turquoise energy, or like color, which is again very kind of like clear. It can talk about clarity as well. You can see that we have the stork, little storky here, the trees, like, and just like nature and these little like flowers here. So whatever chaos has been happening, it is now healing. This card can talk about, as I said, like recovery of a kind, especially in health matters. It is the sign of hope. It is the sign of new beginnings. And I love that this star is the biggest star. It can sometimes indicate a wish fulfillment, something that you're really wishing for, that can sometimes affect all the other things that you might wish for. So it's often like, you can see like there is a big star, and it's almost like it reminds me of those like crowns that like Julius Caesar wears, like where they're like this, or like just a sign of stardom, of authenticity. So yeah, my dear Aquariuses, it can also indicate like something about the body, probably, or like, you know, because when somebody's really naked, somebody's really vulnerable. So something about vulnerability and who you truly are. Then after that, we got the moon. The moon is connected to the Pisces. Sometimes we can say Cancer as well, because you see this little crab here. And it's connected to intuition, illusions, emotions, subconscious, and the dreams. So the moon energy is basically the subconscious mind. It is the emotional world, the feminine energy. So the moon in the readings can sometimes talk about hidden things that are not clear. It can talk about emotional illusions. It can talk about dreams. It can talk about hidden fears and things of the subconscious that we're not seeing. It is also talking about the unknown, unpredictability, something that is happening and you don't, so something at hand that is happening and you don't really know where you're headed. You can see this kind of crab submerging from the water. So it's kind of like He can also talk about that submerging from like the emotions and stepping onto the land, and especially in the subconscious or intuitive realm. This card can often when this card comes out, it can talk about illusions. It can talk about something not being clear, or like if you ask a tarot deck a question and you get this card, you're not meant to know. You're truly not meant to know whatever it is, or there is some illusions that need to be broken. Again, we have the two towers, which are kind of giving this threshold energy, or like the gate. And after you cross this gate, you kind of don't know where you're headed. And it's kind of like that with the subconscious, with the dreams, with the higher realms, right? You don't really know. But we have both the dog and the wolf here. So these two kind of represent that duality of life, you know, the tamed, the conscious, the tamed, and the subconscious, which is kind of wild and free, and you know, you can go into really bright places in your subconscious. You can go also into very dark places in your subconscious. Your subconscious has no rules, but you have to be careful how much you access it, right? While the conscious is more controlled, more tamed, more, you know what you stand, you know what, like, you know, in the conscious realm, the conscious mind is kind of controlling all the things that you already know, the societal norms, the rules of this like world, and what you cannot do, what is legal, what is illegal, blah blah blah. But your subconscious, it runs freely. It runs freely. That's why sometimes we have some weird ass fucking dreams. Sometimes we have very scary dreams. Sometimes, you know, it's interesting. It's the energy of awakening to more in the subconscious realms. So yeah, this card can talk about mystery as well, unknown. Now we have the masculine energy, the sun, the energy of the sun. We have, again, a Leo energy, and this card is the card of vitality, success, joy, truth, confidence, life force, and also this card is kind of like the happiest card in the deck. It represents clarity, shedding a light on something. It is the card of like birthing, kind of like success in a way, or like coming to a point, something successfully happening, in a sense of like, you know what's interesting? Because with the moon, it's kind of like the unknown, right? You don't see, but you're following some kind of a, let's say, a path to success, and you're following your intuition. When the sun comes in, it's kind of like, see, I told you, you followed your intuition, you followed your spark, and now you're here. Now you're in a place of great success. This card often signifies in readings, you know, like really happy times, good times, visibility of a kind. You can talk about exposure. You know, Leos are known to be very kind of like seen, or like to be seen. This card can sometimes talk about ego too, depending on the cards around it, because if you see closely, there's a big ass fucking red flag here. But then again, the child is on the horse, which is also talking about that little innocence, the inner child of yours, the happiness of a child, right? The happiness of that little inner being. And yeah, the sun is very positive energy, but you know, and depending on a reading, it can sometimes, well, fuck, signify yeah, seeing truth for what it is, and clarity coming in. Yeah. Now, moving on, we have the Judgment. So the Judgment card is ruled by Pluto, and it signifies rebirth, awakening, calling, transformation, and the truth. So this card often comes in when we're experiencing a wake-up call, or when somebody is experiencing a wake-up call. It is divine intervention. Again, we also see that angel Gabriel, or like Michael. No, Gabriel, or what did I say, the other one? You know what I mean. But this card often talks about a rebirth of a kind, something divinely happening for a divine reason. It can represent a calling. It can represent you being called to something, or getting some kind of divine inspiration, something being whispered to you. This is the card of aha moments. In relationships, can talk about a significant point of a change, of a rebirth, or of like an awakening of a sort. So understanding something, being enlightened upon something. It's also about divine helpers or helpers in the subtle realms. You can see these kind of figures emerging from the grays, which is signaling that rebirth, being heard from the higher realms. Often when this card comes in, it's again the kind of the events and the energies that you cannot control. Sometimes this card can also talk about like receiving a call, like a literal call, like somebody calling you, or hearing something that is really significant and that changes you, that changes the trajectory of either your life or your thoughts. It is giving you kind of like the understanding of something, the higher understanding of something. This card can also tell you that angels are around you, or you're divinely protected, divinely guided at this time. It can also talk about something happening out of the blue, out of nowhere, but it is meant to happen. Whatever the judgment brings, it brings for the divine reason. It brings because it has to. It's often it can often be, again, like similar to the tower energy, like pivotal points that have to happen for our highest good, that have to happen regardless. So whatever is happening at hand is maybe unexplainable, but uncontrollable, like predictable, reversible, let's say. And then we come to the tower. The tower, the fuck, the world, the world card, the last card, the closing of a cycle. All these cards that we have gone through right now, it is one life's cycle. Everything that one human being goes through from point A to point B, whatever they start in their life. You know, you go through birth, you go through creation, you go through willpower, needing inner strength, through making decisions, through surrendering, through patience, through maybe changing moments, pivotal times in life. You go through healing, you go through the times of uncertainty, breaking illusions, you go through, I don't even know, like seeing truth for what it is, you go through an awakening, and then you come in and you complete a cycle. You come to an end to a significant journey. So the world is ruled by Saturn, and it is the card of completion, mastery, cycles ending, achievement, and karma. So this card, when it comes into readings, it often represents an ending or a close of a cycle. It can also, like if it's in the beginning of the spread, it can talk about an opening of a cycle. In any case, it is ending and a new beginning at that. It is completion of something. It is full mastery of something. Kind of a sense of wholeness. In relationships or in life can signify something being like closed off, or something successfully at that, successfully closed off. In a reverse position, you can talk about it still doesn't represent that, like the cycle is not like successfully ended. You can talk about a delay of an ending, or just like a delay of a completion, or something not being completed yet, right? Or like a cycle that is being blocked almost. But you can see the signs here again: Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. You can see this woman, she's kind of like covered with this cloth. It's kind of giving that success energy, as above, so below, being in balance, coming to a sense of completion in something. The circle also being like going through that like portal or gate to a new beginning. And this card often tells you that there is a certain path, you have completed it, it has come to an end. It can talk also about the world in general, the universe. It can signify universe. So for example, I used to have like tarot, a different tarot deck, and sometimes in tarot decks the world is also not written like the world, but the universe or something like that. So you can talk about divine energy or divine, like the universe as a whole. It is a very powerful energy. It is a pivotal point. It is a shift. It is an ending. It is truly like an ending and a new beginning, as I said, but like it is a completion. Something has come full circle. Something has come full circle and is closing out right now. And it is not the same as it was. You know, it's not the same as it was. Truthfully. So yeah, here we have the flipping. Oh my God, we're talking for an hour, girl. The whole flipping major arcanas. You can tell that like I was telling you about like the overall meanings, and then I would like point out the symbolism. I feel like this way is very much easier to learn. But now we're going through these, and I'm gonna be very quick with these. I don't want to take too much of your time. You will understand what I'm saying. Okay, so let's start. So we're starting off with the swords. Swords are representing the air element. They are connected to mind, thoughts, communication, and all that airy stuff in the mind. So swords are the mind. Aces are new beginnings. However, the aces are potentials rather than tangible new beginnings. It doesn't mean something starting right away, but it does indicate a possibility of a start, a possibility of a new beginning. Let me just separate these. It's easier like this for me to hold them, like literally. So when the Ace of Swords comes in a reading, it can talk about a moment of truth, an expression, like voice, like talking. It can also represent like a little truth moment in your mind, or like a thought energy. As I said, breakthroughs. Also, like with these mountains here, like if there were some like challenges that you were facing, the Ace of Swords is bringing that truth. It's also like the sword having like this this crown here, so there's a sense of power in whatever truth or clarity you're gaining. You can choose to do something with the aces. You can choose to do something with the truth, which you don't have to. It can also signify a beginning or an opening of some sort of communication. You know, swords are again communication, words, mind, thoughts, and social media. You can talk about social media. So yeah, when the Ace of Swords comes through, you will have the clarity that you need. You will receive it, but you have the choice to do something with it or not. Then we have the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords is an energy of something feeling blocked off, or an energy of an indecision. This person here is crossing kind of like their heart, and they're blindfolded as well. So it is a difficult decision or a difficult crossroad where the person doesn't see clearly. They don't know what to do. It can talk about, you know, feeling blocked off, or in some form of way, something being blocked off from you, or you feeling indecisive about something you don't see clearly. However, this card can sometimes indicate about a person feeling kind of like they can't make a decision, or like they're closing off the gates to their heart because they're not feeling safe, right? But if this person was to take this blindfold off, they would quickly realize that there is nothing happening around them. There's no danger. You can even see the water behind here being tranquil. Water in tarot, again, representing the emotions. So tranquil water talks about like that, you know, the environment is really calm. And it's interesting because sometimes when you channel, it is helpful to imagine yourself as the figure in the card. So if you were sitting here with these two swords, you would probably hear like chirping of the birds, the distant water, but you probably wouldn't see any danger. But it is a difficult choice. You don't really see clearly at the time. And also with the moon, this might be something like that requires intuition, that requires trusting the unknown, right? Even the mountains here are in the distance, so this is telling me that the real challenge is not actually maybe right here, but in a distance. It is showing up in a times of uncertainty, or like indecisiveness, or like feeling just blocked off from something. It can also talk about being closed off, like the card being closed off, and especially not seeing clearly the situation at hand. And then we have the Three of Swords. Three of Swords, again, is the energy of heartbreak, disappointment, sadness, grief, hurt. So being hurt. However, swords are the mind. So whatever this is, situation at hand, it is not so much about your heart, real heart being broken. It is the strings of the mind that are being pulled. Now, as you can see, the heart is being like literally like cut with these three swords. You don't really see the blood because it is the mind. It is not, sometimes it can signify not like real hurt, but it is a period of a timeout for you. It is something that has hurt, something that has stung, and it is an energy of heartbreak or of sadness, but it's more pulling on our mind and maybe even causing us to overthink or stay stuck in grief, rather than it is actual emotional heartbreak. This card can come up in relationships when there is hurt in hand. Somebody has been hurt, somebody is grieving the past, depending on the cards around it. Also, you see these clouds, and the clouds often represent actual cloudiness of the mind, so not seeing clearly yet, or your judgment, your mind, your thoughts being clouded by the hurt that is happening right now, because this is kind of like in the middle, so it's kind of like really present. Whatever hurt is happening is really, really present in the mind, more than it is in the emotional waters. So sometimes this card, even though the person might have already went through a disappointment, already went through a breakup, or has already kind of moved on from a certain person, Three of Swords can sometimes show up when that person is still carrying the hurt from the past. So their decisions right now are still being influenced by the hurt that hasn't been processed. So most of the time, it's not about somebody, I mean, depends on the cards around it, right? But sometimes, most of the times, it's not about somebody being hurt right now, right in this moment. It's somebody that has already been hurt, and they're still carrying the pattern, the hurt, that is for one or the other reason inhabiting them from seeing clearly, or in relationship sense, maybe opening up or trying again. And then we have the Four of Swords that comes after the Three of Swords, and the Four of Swords in an energy of healing. So the energy like of the Three of Swords is more of like having that mental struggle, mental battle. And the Four of Swords comes in and eases that hurt. Four of Swords is the card of peace, quiet, isolation, period of rest, healing and rejuvenation. This card, when it comes out, it is very much passive energy. It can talk about the peace of mind. It can sometimes signify dreams as well. It can signify, laying down your swords, or laying down the weapon, laying down the thoughts that have been kind of like maybe torturing somebody, or like just like feeling really hurtful, and now you're sitting in silence and you're gaining that clarity. Often, this card can represent a pause or a need for isolation, need for rest. This card will always point to rest, especially in connections. Just know that, like, if you get this card in this relationship sense, that like the person or you or the relationship itself is going through a timeout, but it is healing. It is greatly healing at this time. You can see the element of church here, like the Mother Mary, if I'm not mistaken. So there is divinity in whatever is happening. And this guy actually is laying, and he's kind of, it looks like he's praying, right? And the story behind this card is really interesting, because in the times of, it's not Victorian times, in the times when these cards were created, people, or like men, used to go to war. However, if they did not come back in a certain time, people would build them, or like make them graves in the church and lay them in the church. However, if they're soldiers that do come back at the end, they go to church and they lay on their caskets and they rest for a few days there. They were used to sleep on their caskets as kind of like the processing of the battles, the healing, the rejuvenation. It is also like this card, like it's very interesting, because they really used to like spend a few days on the grave that was meant for them, just in that, sitting in that gratitude for, again, staying alive and processing healing and resting. So yeah, this card is very passive energy, or like a need for rest and quiet, peace and quiet. Also dreams, as I said. Now we have the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is the card of like it can talk about inner mental conflict, but it is more of like the ego battle, the battle of the ego. 5 is the number of change. So this situation is definitely changing something. This card, however, talks about, you know, a laugh now, cry later moment. It is the card of like winning, but at what cost? So often in connections as well, can talk about like those ego battles that like, yeah, like I you know, like I said this, I said that, I paid back for the way that you hurt me, but in reality it has caused even more chaos or more hurt. In this like picture, you can see this person is laughing, and they're kind of like having these swords, like, haha, I got your all of your swords. This person here, they're walking away, and this person here is in regret, kind of like, or they're kind of sad about whatever has happened. However, people like to believe that like this can also indicate the same person. So like they're now like standing truly in this like battlefield, like, oh, I won, and then they're walking away. It's giving avoidant energy. They're walking away from the situation, but as the time passes in the near future, they kind of regret that. They kind of like, there is regret in this card. You can also see kind of like these clouds being like very scattered. It seems like a very like almost like a dragon head, or like a head that is kind of like rah, 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 rah. So a mental battle, or a battle in communication that has maybe gone to a level that has scarred a little bit, and this card often to me, or like in general, I feel like it's talking about those moments where you feel like you won a certain like a argument, you won an argument, and then like you go later, you reflect on it, and you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have said that. So yeah, so after this turmoil, the conflict, the fight, whatever, again, this looks like a little bit like after the battle. So they have probably battled and somebody has pulled away, right? And then we have the Six of Swords, and the Six of Swords comes right after the 5, which is a person moving away from this situation, moving away from something into the more tranquil waters. You can see the tranquil waters behind them, but these are kind of a little bit choppy here. So Six of Swords, it often comes in when the person is moving away from something that has been very turbulent or has hurt them in a way. They're moving away peacefully. However, the swords are still attached to the boat. So that tells me that, or tells us that this person, it is moving on, but is not letting go in a way, or like even though they are moving on, they're still carrying these swords. They're still carrying this mental energy with them. However, these figures are pointing that direction, so you don't really see them. So they're moving away, right? They're walking away. You can see the mother and the child, and you have this figure here that is helping them cross this path, or this lake. So often it can signify also being divinely protected. Some people like to believe that this figure here is universe, or like your guardian angels. So on this path of letting go and moving away from the turmoil, you're literally like being guarded or being guided by somebody, or somebody is helping you. You can have a helping hand in letting go of something. It is walking away, but again, it is still kind of like carrying that mental energy with you, if that makes sense. So yeah, this card, whenever it pops out, it is talking about moving away from something. Kind of like it's not fully letting go. It's not fully letting go, but it is moving into a calmer, more tranquil peace of mind that is helping you on your path forward. So yeah, then we have the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is, you can see that it looks like what it looks like. So Seven of Swords is the card of like I can talk about lies, deception. I can talk about trickery or like stealing something. I can talk about like shady behaviors, limiting beliefs as well, sabotage of something, or a self-sabotage. So this person is kind of taking the swords. They're taking the swords and they're kind of walking away. And there are still these two of swords standing. Now, if you see in the back here, it is barely seeable, but there are people who are going after this person. So whatever this is, it has been kind of seen, or is kind of brought to light. These people might be going around them, or like these people could also be celebrating. You can see like the circus behind here, or like these kind of things. However, this person kind of like seems like they're getting away with it, when in reality they might not be getting away with it. However, swords are again the mental energy, the mind, the thoughts. So this card for me is very much connected to self-sabotaging thoughts or patterns that are kind of not helping you, that are actually sabotaging the situation at hand, especially in situations like relationships. It definitely signifies like, you know, a person that is doing something that that could be maybe like taking away from you, or like, you know, it doesn't like, it depends on the cards around it. I will say this 10,000 of times, but like it's not often about them precisely doing something wrong at you, although it can be, but oftentimes it is that the person or you has some kind of a way of thinking or the way of approaching the situation that is actually taking away from the good, taking away from the situation rather than helping it. Sometimes these are like, as I said, sabotaging patterns that we repeat in relationships that are not useful, that are not really helping. Ego battles, right? Thinking that we're doing something right when in reality we're not. It is the illusion. It is deception, you know, illusion, deception, like not seeing something for what it is, or something being hidden from you as well. This can talk about like hidden aspects, or like not knowing something, somebody being sneaky, right? But it doesn't always have to be like a person being sneaky. It can be like that there are aspects of the situation that you're not familiar with, or that they're not kind of letting you know. Now, what with the swords that he's holding, this person is not letting you know something internally, something mentally, something that could be communicated. And you can see this person holding 5 swords. So if there are ego battles, or like the egoistic energy or thinking or conflicts from the 5 of swords before, this person is not maybe letting you know how they feel. Sometimes this can talk about somebody hiding their feelings or avoiding. This card is also avoidance, strong avoidance. And then we have the guilty consciousness. The guilty consciousness, the 8 of swords. So again, that mental energy. 8 of swords often represents somebody who is stuck in their head, somebody who's this is still not overthinking, but it is a situation that is making the person kind of stuck, that they don't know what to do about it. They're still not overthinking the shit out of it, but they're surely not really free from it either. These swords surrounding them seems like this person is kind of trapped. They're blindfolded, but they're also tied like this. And they're probably kind of like restricted, or they feel restricted somewhere, especially in the mind, or they feel blocked off from something. They feel like they don't see clearly in a certain situation. You can talk about anxiety, or you can talk about fear, or feeling paralyzed in a situation, feeling really like don't know. I don't know. But it's interesting because you can see this mountain behind, and it is actually like a mountain, and then you have like the kingdom here behind. So whatever this person is thinking about, they already have something behind here. So they already kind of have some kind of a structure to whatever it is that they're thinking about. You can see that one leg is again in the water, and then in the on the ground you can see a little bit of water here, like almost like a leaking water. So this, whatever it is, it does kind of affect the emotions a little bit. However, this person again it needs to take the blindfold off, because if they do, they realize that they're in no danger, that it's really in the mind. So when 8 of swords kind of comes through, it's almost like this energy, like, you know, you're like you're stuck about something, and you need maybe a fresh perspective, or you need to look at it differently, or it's kind of the energy of something sabotaging you, something stopping you, when in reality you're not trapped, but you're trapping yourself. So it is a little bit of a self-sabotage, but the person is not seeing clearly, so it's kind of like, fuck, justified. Like, we don't always see clearly. However, if this person doesn't choose to walk away from this, but stays and simmers in this stuckness, then comes the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is close to a breaking point. Nine of Swords is the next card. This card talks about anxiety, like overthinking, late night thoughts that are kind of like, you know, you can talk about like, you know, headaches, sleepless nights, insomnia. It is really the card of like, you know, and the nine again is close to an ending, or close to a pivotal point. This card, when it comes in, it signifies that one or both of you, or one person or the other, or somebody here is overthinking the shit out of something. The swords are again the mind, and so the swords can sometimes represent that illusionary energy. So something that is being overthought about is actually not helping you, it's making it worse. But when you're stuck in that, you don't see a way out almost. You can see here that here there is an imagery, almost like somebody who is like with the sword, and they're kind of like putting down this person, the other person. So it is kind of the battle of the mind, the battle in the bed, in the late night thoughts. And on this thing here, on this blanket, you can see all the zodiac signs, which is kind of like talking about that cycle of life, or all the aspects of life in one's journey, right? So life situations at hand. This card can also represent those mental battles, but it's often like fears or overthinking that are not real. They're only in the mind, right? And this card often, when it comes out, it's telling you that you're overthinking the shit out of this, and you're not seeing clearly. As much as people don't like to see it, this card is also an encouragement. It is telling you that whatever you are struggling with, or whatever is kind of like keeping you up, universe is kind of trying to tell you, please don't worry about it. It will be fine. It's not as it seems. It's not so bad. Everything will be okay. When this card comes out, she's just telling us, you are driving yourself mad. Like, you're driving yourself mad. And you can trust that everything will be fine. However, let's say for a perspective that this person keeps overthinking and keeps staying up at night, keeps literally like spiraling, right? There we have the Ten of Swords, the breakdown. Ten of Swords is again an ending of a cycle. In this specific situation, the person has chose to be literally like spiritually killed by their thoughts. This often represents a painful ending of a kind, something that has really put the person down. It can talk about mental breakdown, an emotional breakdown. A person has reached a peak. They have reached a point in their mental state where, like, worst case scenario, me watching Relaxing with Ali, she always like interprets this card as worst case scenario, and honestly unlocked my knowledge a little bit. But you know, this card actually, even though it talks about that painful ending, it is also signifying a new beginning. It is signifying the ending of the hard times. So you can see kind of like these dark clouds over here. So it's kind of like that cloudiness in the mind, not seeing clearly, but yellow sky is showing up. So these clouds are clearing up, and now there is a space for new beginning. Again, the person is laying down. They have been maybe stabbed in the back. This can also, you know, symbolism. They're laying on their stomach, and they're kind of like worn down to the bone, if you will. And people think that this is all blood. This is a blanket. This is a red blanket. So the power of the mind has overpowered this person in a way. The pain or the thoughts have gained power over a situation, over this person. However, you know, each and every time that we go through these painful endings, painful periods, you know, sometimes you overthink the shit out of something, you cry it out, and then you feel better, and you're like, maybe I don't even know why I cried, to be honest, but you needed to let it out. Sometimes Ten of Swords is those kind of situations where kind of you need to end it out and end something out. But when you see Nine of Swords, be careful, because I'm telling you, like, especially if you're overthinking something, like the Nine of Swords can lead to Ten of Swords real fast. However, it doesn't always have to be like that, right? You can choose to not overthink. So now we have the first court cards. The court cards in tarot can represent people or certain personality traits in people. Now, I'm hoping that I will be able to interpret these right, because I'm just like going off of intuitive insight with these minor arcanas. But, you know, I feel like you can always find out something new and you can always learn more. And I'm just here giving you kind of like the overall energy, the overall guide. So you kind of have the objective look out on the cards, which I feel like helps. If somebody, wait, I need to kind of like, it's cold, bitch. It's cold. Whew. It's kind of cold. Like, I don't even know. Fuck this spring, man. Fuck this spring when like the April is starting off. Fucking with rain and whatever. Anyways, so here we have the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is, the pages in a tarot are representing children. So innocent energy, new beginnings. Page of Swords can represent new communication coming in, messengers. Pages are the messengers. So meanwhile, the like Ace of Swords is the potential of a new beginning. The page can represent an actual new beginning. So the Page of Swords is about communication, curiosity, learning something, right? Also, like the way they're looking over their kind of shoulder, it looks like they're kind of like interested in whatever it is happening. It is often signifying something being communicated to you, or somebody coming in and telling you something. It can indicate somebody keeping an eye on you, or like watching you, or you being watched. Now you see these kind of like clouds being like literally all over the place. So this person is kind of like a little bit chaotic in the mind, a little bit, not a lot. They're thinking about something, and they're kind of interested in communicating something, or they're thinking about communication. Doesn't necessarily always mean they will communicate, but this is, to me, a very strong card of messages, or receiving messages, somebody messaging you, somebody calling you. Actually, the page doesn't have the balls to call, but maybe sometimes. So we have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is a teenager. So how does one teenager that is a little bit reckless act? You ask me. You ask yourself. So this is the fastest moving knight in the deck. It represents fast movement, fast communication, reckless behavior, doing something without thinking about the consequences. Often the Knight of Swords doesn't think about the consequences. So something unexpected, something rapidly fast. He's literally like, that horse is reaching its peak point and he's like, I'm going at it. So this card can also represent like somebody who is very reckless, or somebody who like really doesn't think before they speak almost, or somebody who might do something unexpected out of the blue, also cutting through something, or cutting through bullshit in some form of way. Or if this is related to projects or life in general, it can represent fast movement, or a fast communication, or like a phone call. This is more like a phone call out of fucking nowhere. This night is kind of like more I want to say direct, very direct, and more kind of I keep thinking about reckless energy, like just like doing something out of fucking nowhere. Reckless. And then we have the Queen of Swords. So our queen over here, it is the feminine, actually the masculine aspect of the feminine energy. These are very connected to air signs again. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I think she is a Libra, if I'm not mistaken, or I think a Libra, and this guy here is a Gemini. However, Queen of Swords is about like a woman or a feminine energy that is truthful, that is honest, that doesn't tolerate bullshit. She's very, like, she has strong fucking boundaries. She stands in her truth. Sometimes this card can talk about somebody being perceived as a little bit guarded or a little bit like bossy, but in a way that asserts the dominance. So this is a very dominant feminine energy. It can talk about communicating the truth, a need for communicating the truth, a need to be honest. This woman, as you can see, these clouds and shit, her head is above the clouds. So she's seeing clearly. Her head is not in the clouds. Her head is not clouded by anything. She sees the truth. She owns that truth. Again, the sword upright represents maybe making a decision that or like still not making a decision of a kind. Her hand being pointed out is also kind of the energy of like pointing out something or telling something, speaking the truth. And these two kind of, when they stand or beside each other, it looks like, you know, the queen is pointing at the king and she's telling him something and he's kind of like, yes, okay. So it's a very honest, very not sugarcoating, no fucking sugarcoating. Like, they tell you what it is. Which yeah. So this card asks you for boundaries. It asks you to speak your truth. It asks you to be honest, to communicate your needs, to communicate what you need, what you want, especially to other people. Or it can talk about a woman. Talk about a feminine energy, or like a masculine with with this feminine aspect. However, you know, Queen of Swords is detached. She can come across as a little bit cold, detached, or just like sometimes a little bit angry or frustrated. It doesn't always have to be, but like it is somebody who is perceived as very discerning, very honest, truthful, or somebody who can be trusted, as well as somebody who does not tolerate bullshit. Like, just don't play with this bitch. It is the mental energy. So the King of Swords. The King of Swords is the authority that is led by truth. So this king, he has a very powerful and strong mind. This card can indicate somebody who is very truthful, very honest, very disciplined, structured. He knows what he wants. He's very, very, very honest. He rules with a sense of authority. He's a very good communicator, a very good negotiator. You can see these butterflies above his head, which is telling us that, right, his mind is very transforming, or like the way that he rules is very transformative, or like the way that he can communicate is very it can bring change to people, right? It can bring change to perspectives and stuff like that. This king can be very nonchalant as well. This king can be very cold and detached, not really emotionally available sometimes. But the King of Swords is ruled by rational mind, by the intellect. It's an intellectual energy just as much as the queen. However, the king is very logical, which means that he is led by logic, not by his emotions. So when you get this reading pertaining to a certain person, this is somebody who needs evidence. This is somebody who needs truth, who needs honesty from you. It's not that they don't feel anything. You know, it's a big misconception about this card, because all the kings are kings for a reason. They have a queen for a reason. But they are not tolerating bullshit. They're not like, this is somebody who is mature. So it's not like, it is a mature sword energy. So he has battled the battles in his mind. He knows what it is. But like, he's not all for that sobby bullshit. He is very like, be honest, be straight up with me. I can take that. It is also someone who also really deeply cares about the people around him. He has compassion and understanding, but it is on a logical scale. So people who are maybe more emotional might not understand the perspective of this king. But in all, this king has a very nurturing side. He can be very attentive. He is mentally picking up on your needs, on the needs of others as well. But the way that he approaches emotions is, you know, trying not to dwell in them, but being rational. And this really reminds me of my brother. Every time that I see this card, I think about my brother. He's like that. He's a Gemini, and his woman is a Taurus, and she likes to control, and she likes to be emotionally not controlling in a bad sense, but she sometimes like her emotions can cloud her, right? But my brother is always calm. He's always calm, and he's like, why are you now like being so like, why are you, for example, why are you scared? Why are you like this and that? We'll figure out everything. So this king is kind of like, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. Like, they're really like calm in the moments of turbulence, which we love that about these kings. Yeah. How do you like this so far? I think I'm doing really good. I'm surprising myself. Shit. I'm forgetting that I'm reading for over 5 years. You know, I thought about this reading and I was kind of intimidated. I was like, what the fuck like, I don't think I know everything. Bitch, I do. I do be knowing things. And I be underestimating myself. Anyways, we have the suit of wands now. The wands. So the sticks, the wands. The wands represent passion. They are like, the swords are the mind. Now the wands are action. The wands are passion. The wands are inspiration, spiritual energy, fire energy, right? The wands are also actions. Did I say that? I probably did. Like, the energy of actions, and the energy of pursuit. So starting off with the Ace of Wands, I love the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is a birth of a new idea, birth of a new inspiration, new passion, an opportunity for a new path, or a sense of new spark. This card often can indicate a blessing, a spiritual blessing that is on the way. Aces, again, remember, that are only the potentials. So when this card comes in, it might tell you that you might get an idea to do something. You might feel called to do something. And if you choose not to, this spark will go away. So the aces in a tarot decks are really just potentials. They're really just here, like, and you can choose to do something with that, or you can choose not to do something with that. You know, it can escape you, or it doesn't have to. But the Ace of Wands is truly like a new, exciting beginning. So something that excites you, something that sparks you up, and it's really lovely. It can also, in a sexual sense, it can represent a wand. You know what I mean? Or like a bursting passion, or like a climax, right? It is that energy. But often, more than not, it is talking about a new passionate beginning of a kind, or an opportunity to step into this passionate new beginning, a new passionate project, or a new journey. But nothing will happen if you don't take action towards it, of course. But it's kind of like with these hands kind of coming out of the clouds, it's kind of like the universal gift to you of some kind. You're being gifted this opportunity, or like universe is giving you kind of the spiritual blessing, and it's coming out of nowhere. It is the spark of life. Now we have the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is kind of giving me the energy of like a crossroad, or looking into the distance. Often this card pops up when you're planning something, when you need to look at the bigger picture, when you see this person looking at the world. So they're kind of planning, they're visualizing, they're looking into the future. You can see that they're on some kind of a tower or something where they're looking into the distance. So it can signify somebody looking at you from afar, or somebody planning to do something. But this is just planning, right? This is not taking action. This is just like reevaluating, looking into the distance, kind of like, if the Ace of Wands, you get the inspiration and you see this person holding this one wand in their hand, and they're kind of thinking into the distance. They're thinking about this new idea, about which road to take or how to approach this situation. It is also, this person is kind of turned away from us. They're not facing us. So it's again that energy of looking into the distance, seeing the bigger picture, seeing the world for what it is. It is also, like, as I said, like, not precisely taking action, but just planning and action. And then we have the Three of Wands. Now look at the similarities. So the Three of Wands is after the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands probably has decided something, and they have put something into motion. The Three of Wands comes in when you're putting something into motion, and this person can sometimes look like they're either waiting for results, or they're seeing the progress being made. You can see these kind of like boats. They're either going away, so they can come back with results, or they're coming in with the results. However, this person is looking at it into the distances again. This card is about expansion, seeing wider horizons, looking into the distance, looking into the more of life. I love this card when it pops out because it can represent results coming in, your work paying off in some form of way. And it can talk about like waiting energy, or somebody waiting on you, you waiting on somebody, somebody looking at you from a distance, somebody stalking your social media. Like also with the Two of Wands can be like looking at you. It's kind of like the energy of either waiting, you know, this person kind of looks like the magician. So something that you're kind of created is now being set into motion. Threes are often numbers of progress. You see a lot of yellow, so there's a lot of joy that is accompanied by this card. And yeah, you're kind of like in a period of receiving results. And now we have the Four of Wands. Now it's interesting because, you know, this person is kind of waiting for the boats to come in. Now this is kind of like when the boats come in. So like when you're looking at this card, you can imagine yourself as the boats that are coming in, and there is celebration. People are waiting for you. There is somebody waiting for you. This card is a celebratory card, you know, something paying off, celebration of a kind. It can talk about home, it can talk about coziness, like stability. It is the four. Number fours are in tarot are numbers of stability. And so you see these two kind of like, they look like 1111. They can represent soulmate energy, or like mirroring numbers, signs from the universe, kind of telling you, yo, you succeeded. And you see these people, they're kind of celebrating. You can also see people here probably celebrating or like drinking or something like that. Whatever it is time of arrival. It is time for celebration, for lighter times. It can also talk about marriage, with these, you know, with this thing here, or like getting married, or your marriage as a whole, or you know, when it's about a connection, it's having fun with somebody. It's like really celebratory energy, really like somebody, you know, feeling like home to somebody, feeling like really good with somebody, or you know, celebrating life. There is success, there is happiness, there is like, you know, they're kind of like waving. They look like they're waving at the person. There is like a here. So it is happy times with the yellow as well. Then we have the Five of Wands. Here she is. The Five of Wands. Look at that. What is happening in this card? So if the Five of Swords is the mental battle, the Five of Wands is a physical one. So it can talk about conflict. It can talk about comparison, competition between people, fighting. It can talk about conflicts, external conflicts, most likely. It can sometimes talk about internal conflicts, because then again, the wands are again a spiritual energy, so you can talk about the inner world, the battle in your intuitive energy. You can see a lot of these people are kind of like fighting for their place. They're asserting themselves in a way. This can talk about multiple people being in a certain situation, or you can talk about like a fight. You can talk about competition between people. You can talk about maybe being, you know, conflicted on what to do in a certain situation. It can also be like a lot of different opinions in your ear. And often when it comes to it is just like a battle. It is a battle of knowing what to do, or battle of how to do something. And it's often competition. It can also be a little bit of jealousy energy. And now we have the Six of Wands. So after the Five of Wands, there is somebody who has won this fucking battle. However, the Six of Wands is recognition. It is the public recognition for somebody who has won something, somebody who has succeeded in something. So this card, when it pops out, it can talk about, you know, successful endings of situations, successful completion of certain situations, somewhere where you're being seen. This card can also talk about publicity, so being seen. You can talk about social media, like in that sense, like whatever it is, you're recognized for your success, and there are people who are cheering for you. However, there is also some people who are jealous of you. So, you know, not everything shiny is coming from a balanced place. You know, somebody might be cheering for you, but in reality, they're kind of like jealous of you. It's what comes with success, right? So this card is often success and public recognition. Then we have the Seven of Wands. So Seven of Wands is the energy of resistance, standing your ground, facing challenges head on. So this card, when it comes out, the person could be resisting something, or there could be a lot of things poking at this person. You know, it looks like this person has like one shoe on and one sock on. So it's kind of like they're not ready. They feel like they're not ready for whatever this is. However, this person is having a guard up. They're willing to protect whatever they're themselves or whatever they're protecting. And you can see that these wands or these people, whoever they are not seen in this picture, which is giving this person a sense of authority. So when this card comes out, it can talk about you facing challenges, but in whatever case, you are above those challenges and you can traverse those terrains. In the emotional sense, it can talk about somebody who is being guarded or who is resisting emotions, resisting taking action, or resisting something. It is a card of like almost like endurance. So whoever this is, they have been through some shit. They might be guarding themselves up, or they might be, you know, depending on what context, it is often about just like resistance, standing your ground, fighting for your place, fighting for, or like, you know, something unexpectedly poking at you, something unexpected. So some people, maybe, you know, different opinions, different, yeah, different people, like people's opinions, or like a lot of things happening. But however, like just remember that you're above all of those things. Now we have the Eight of Wands, a very mysterious tarot card, because for the first time in a tarot, we don't see no people. There is no people in this card, only the wands, only this like terrain and the sky. So this card is talking about unexpected things happening. It is talking about movement, fast movement, momentum building up, things happening out of nowhere. This card for me is also a blessing card. So multiple things coming at you, but they're good things. They're, especially when the cards are positively saturated around it. It can talk about like things moving really fast in your favor. It can also talk about focus point. It can indicate that you need to focus on something, or focus on one specific thing, or focus your energy, because again, a wand's spiritual energy, into like a one direction. Oh my god. Putting your energy in one single direction. So also Eight of Wands can talk about communication coming in, somebody calling you, something arranging really fast, like very, very fast moving energy of momentum and clear focus, things coming at multiple things going at one singular thing. And then we have the Nine of Wands. Then again, the nine, about the closing off the cycles, close to a close of a cycle. Nine of Wands, when it comes in, it often talks about somebody who has been through a lot and somebody who is guarding themselves up. They're ready. They have been through a lot. It looks like their head is kind of hurt. They're kind of like standing on the stick, like damn, like I'm still standing, damn, like I'm tired. But this is closing out soon. Universe often comes in with this card and they tell you, stand up for a little bit longer. It is going to be over soon. This battle, this whatever it is going to be over soon. It can also talk about emotional guardedness in a way, where this person has put up these wands to protect their heart, to protect their space, to protect themselves. However, there is no danger again around this person, and they are not blindfolded, but their head is bandaged. So whatever has happened mentally has left a scar on this person, and it is affecting them currently. You can also see the mountains again here, which they're in the far distance, which again, challenges are not still here. It is more of the mental energy, like it is more of the physical energy. You know that feeling when like I mean, you probably know when you're emotionally guarded to somebody or something, and you're kind of like, you know, you feel the energy of pressure in your chest, and you're like, oh, I don't want this, I can't do this. It's often that kind of energy, and it's often, more often than not, connected to something from the past that has affected you in the right now. This card can also be very connected to Chiron, and the Chiron is the aspect, or like the asteroid in natal charts, and it's the wounded healer. So something that you've been hurt, something that is something that you're overcoming in this life, and you have the ability to heal others with it as well. And then we have the 10 of Wands. So 10 of Wands is, you know, hitting a final point again, a close of a cycle, or like a, well, yeah, like, you know, 10s are often the endings of something. So you can see this person, they're carrying all these wands. This card comes in when there is burdens. There is, a person is carrying more than they can carry, or they're taking on other people's responsibilities. They're not even theirs to carry. Often this card comes in when it's advising us to release, or it is talking about release, talking about the probably like acknowledging that you're carrying more than you should, or more than like you can, and that it's okay to either ask for help, or it's okay to let all of those wands down. You don't have to carry everything alone. So this card is often guiding you to release the pressure. You can talk about that, you know, the pressure, feeling overwhelmed by a situation, overwhelmed by emotions, overwhelmed by responsibilities, and universe is calling you to take some rest, to not carry everything on your own. So it is an ending of this. It is a release. Now we have the page again, the kid again. So look at that, the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands is a little kid that is exploring, that is only ever like very curious, very explorative, just wants to learn about the world, just wants to travel, wants to see the world, like very much a young, fiery energy. This is also about passion, about passionate communication, about somebody who might, you know, fantasize about something or think about something. They're looking at the wand, so they're kind of like, you know, in the sexual sense, you know what that mean? You know what that mean. But it is like a communication of a kind, or like feeling really inspired or engaged with somebody, in the feelings sense of like when you're reading cards, or like about a certain person, they might be fantasizing about you, they might be thinking passionately about you, or they're very curious and you inspire them. This card is also about passionate projects and working on something that really inspires you, that really ignites your inner fire, which is really beautiful, and you should follow it. You should follow it. Look at all these salamanders on his clothes, which is again giving that fire energy, like having like a passion as companion. Like I literally have a fire salamander here. Look at him. It's giving Sagittarius energy. Anyways, this card, again, it can be passionate messages. It can be somebody taking initiative towards you, somebody telling you something very, very, very spicy. But it's also about passionate projects. It's about adventures. Okay, being very adventurous spirit, very young, very curious, very wanting to explore the world, right? And then we have the Knight. Again, the teenager of the wands. This one is very fiery, very passionate. It's one of those like childlike energies. It's not much childlike. It's kind of like it's still maturing. So this Knight is a little bit aloof, a little bit immature. So when it comes out as your person, just know that this is not committal energy. This person is not really committal. They're very in here for the passion. For the passion. But this is somebody who is very goal-oriented. They're very passionate, and they're moving towards their goals regardless. This is somebody who I feel like they kind of follow what ignites them. They follow what sparks them up, and they like fun. They are probably very fun. This can also talk about taking action, so inspired action that is being needed in a certain situation. It's a lot about like fiery energy, just like that ignition. Like it's never boring with this person or with this energy. Like this energy is calling you towards exploring the things that inspire you, that make you feel alive and stuff like that. So yeah, this card can also indicate like a very passionate, raw sex, right? All right. So now we have the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands, like the Queen and King of Wands, is the epitome of a loyal connection, of a relationship that is based on loyalty, truth, and passion. like sometimes if you get like these two in tarot readings, it can indicate that, like, especially if you know that the person that you're asking about is unavailable, or like they're in a relationship, just know that if they do show up as the Queen or the King of Wands, they're truly not available, and they're not going to cross that bridge between loyalty and mischievity, right? So the Queen here, Queen talks about confidence. Queen talks about charisma, a fiery woman that is really in her energy, that is really confident. She can have beautiful curves, beautiful body, the way that she dresses, the hair, the way that she takes care of herself. She's very fun to be around, very enthusiastic, very adventurous. She rules with the passion. She rules with a sense of like fun outdoorsy. This kind of queen is kind of like very independent, very self-sufficient, very in her own energy, but is also very kind of she has that soft aspect in her. She has the ability to maneuver her man. She has the ability to passionately like ignite the connection and keep this man literally chained. Like the man doesn't want to go, okay? Also with the cat and everything here, this queen can also represent a spiritual person, somebody who is connected to their intuition, really, really much listening, following their intuition. You can talk about like a witchy energy, so somebody who practices occult things, or somebody who is into like maybe nature, or like you know, more of the subconscious. We have the black cat here, so it could be somebody who is giving black cat energy, but it also is somebody who is very connected to their intuition. And as we know, cats are literally following their instinct. Cats know a lot. Cats are very highly intelligent. They're not chasing anything. They're not chasing validation. They're not chasing the pets. They just like, they're very intuitive, very connected to higher hidden intuitive realms. So the queen is very fiery, fun, exciting, charismatic, sexy energy in a woman. But you know, in a sense of connections, or in a sense of like energy, you can talk about little sex, but like this kind of intercourse is more it's more like passionate, making love, rather than like just like you know, switching them positions for you type of shit. It's a very like soft kind of energy. It often indicates somebody, but as an overall energy, it is passion, it is charisma, it is following your intuition and stuff like that. And then we have the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is sexy. He is good looking. He is a go-getter. He's somebody who has made things come true through taking action, through following intuition and taking action. He's the master of intuitive guidance, of listening to what feels right over what he thinks is right. So the King of Wands can come off as a little bit reserved. It's very much a controlled fire. So it's not like all over the place like the Knight of Wands, where he's like just like, you know, impulsive energy. The king is very much controlled, fiery energy. King of Wands can also indicate somebody who is unavailable for you. Like, let's be real. Sometimes this person can be like the person that you're inquiring about. They can be taken, and if they're in a relationship, they're very loyal. They're only focused on what matters to them. They're not available. But they can also be a little bit, you know, on guard, kind of like the King of Wands can represent somebody who is guarded a little bit, and just enough for them to kind of like intuitively kind of dissect the situation so they know what to do. But the King of Wands is very passionate, and they're very much a daddy energy. They're very much like a person that wants to feel you, or like feel the desires, or like commit in a way that is very loyal. So this king is very committal, very loyal, and he needs fun, he needs stimulation, he needs excitement, because he's exciting himself. This card, when it comes out, it could be telling you that it's time to step into a leadership role of a kind. The King of Wands is very much a strong, powerful, intuitive leader, somebody led by passion, somebody led what feels right. So yeah, strong leadership energy, strong fiery energy, strong passion, strong intuition, and just like overall really fun and really sexy, right? Oh my god, guys, 2 more to go. Let's go. So here we have the cups. The cups. So the cups in tarot do represent emotions, and the water as well. So emotional field. Now the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups in tarot represents emotional new beginnings. It can represent a spiritual blessing or a blessing of a kind from the universe. It can talk about emotional renewal, new beginnings in love, healing a relationship, healing something. It is a potential. It is a beginning, a sweet feelings. It can be like somebody maybe catching feelings for you, or somebody wanting to express something to you. You can see the overflow of the water here. So there's definitely significance in the emotional energy. Now, this Ace of Cups, when it shows up in, especially in the love readings, like it can signify that somebody has sweet feelings for you. They want to give you these feelings. They're thinking about it, but again, aces are potentials, so it doesn't always mean this person will take action, but the emotions are there. So new beginnings, new emotional potential for taking action. But if it's not supported by other cards that are indicating that this person might express it, somebody can love you from afar, that type of energy. So, and then we have the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is emotional energy, a connection at hand that is an equal exchange, so equal give and take. This is often like a little bit of soulmate energy. It's giving like love between two people, or an like kind of reciprocity between two people. It is a very lovely energy. This is also a connection that is quite healing. This sign right here is about healing and healing wounds and renewal. Also, if you look closely, this guy is reaching out to the feminine, which is the kind of like that natural balance between the masculine and feminine energy, where the feminine attracts, the masculine is the one that takes action. So in these kind of energies, it's kind of like the feminine is allowing the masculine to come towards her instead of her chasing him or something like that. So in a relationship sense, you can talk about, again, like a really sweet connection, a very loving connection. There is a lot of emotions here, like they're being exchanged in this connection. However, Two of Cups can also talk about your masculine and feminine energy, or something coming into an emotional balance. Like it can talk about emotional balance as a whole. It doesn't always have to be relationships. It can be partnerships. It can be friendships. It can be you connecting to something. Based on the other cards around it, it can also talk about you connecting to a job, to a passion, or like feeling really happy, feeling really at home, or like at place with whatever you're at in a connection, or in a connection to somebody or something. And then we have the Three of Cups. So the Three of Cups is the energy of celebration, of reaping the rewards of like reaping what you saw. You can also see these like all these like fruits over here. So whatever is celebrating here is celebrating some form of a progress. This card is a card of reunion, meeting somebody, partying with somebody. You can talk about your friends circle, people around you, somebody celebrating you, celebrating your progress, or you're going to celebrate something really significant and meaningful. It can also like talk about co-creation with the universe. This card can sometimes indicate that like you're working on a level of spirit, and something that is reaping the kind of like something that is bringing you rewards is also kind of a little bit from the universe as well. Like universe is helping you because you are doing the divine work. But also in relationships, this card can sometimes talk about third parties. You can see that this person, this guy here, or like, I mean, it looks like a girl, but let's imagine that this is a guy and he's kind of cheering up here. And this girl is cheering up here, but they're facing each other. However, this guy seems like he is putting a hand here on the other person. And this person seems like they're pointing their cup in the middle here. So across their two cups. So sometimes it can indicate third parties or other things that are influencing the connections at hand. It doesn't always have to be another person, depending on the cards around it. Sometimes it can be work, sometimes it can be challenges, family, shit like that. However, this is a celebratory card. It is a card of good times, good moments, unions and reunions. And then we have the Four of Cups. And this card often talks about boredom, dissatisfaction, not willing to look at something, or like avoiding something. This is kind of the energy of apathy, not really feeling anything, like just like feeling really like just like whatever. Like literally, this is a card that says whatever really fucking long. However, you know, this person is kind of focused on these three cups. They're focused on something here that is either not working, or like that is boring the shit out of them. They're being offered something, but they're not seeing it. They're not willing to look at it, or like with the crossed hands, it can also be like they're not interested, or they're not like even if they're being offered something, they're not taking it for whatever reason. In some situations, it can be because this person doesn't really see this cup. So this can talk about unexpected things, or like things that are being offered to you and you're not realizing that they're being offered to you. But sometimes it can be straight up like not interested. So this can be dissatisfaction, or just like, you know, being too focused on something that you already have, that you're not willing to look at more. Often in relationships and connections, this can talk about somebody who is not satisfied with the current situation, or they're too focused on what is not working in a situation, or like what is making them really like really like apathic, or like in this bored energy. They're not kind of accepting, they're not accepting whatever it is being offered to them. So sometimes, you know, again, depending on the cards around it, it can indicate that, like, you know, even if you're offering them help, or if you're offering somebody like your love, your cup, this person is focusing on something that is not working. You know, with Three of Cups, somebody can be focusing on another person, or they can be focusing on something that they have already kind of went through the past and shit like that. So not really fucking whatever. And then we have the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is the card of emotional disappointment, grief and sadness, grieving something that was lost. This black figure here, they're kind of like sad, they're reminiscing, they're like crying over the spilled milk almost. You can see that behind here we have the lake, which is kind of quite tranquil. So it's telling me that like emotions, or like this situation has probably already happened, and this person is kind of like going through this process of release, the process of freeing themselves from it. You can see the little bridge here. So it's again that energy of like bridging between that disappointment, that initial sadness and or loss of a kind, and moving into like moving away from that thing. And again, you can see these structures here. So like if they cross the bridge, they would come into more stability, or bridging something more stable, right? You can see like the card itself is kind of like grayish, yellowish. It almost seems like a rainy day or some shit. So it's really like a card of disappointment, and most of the time past disappointment. However, if you look at these three cups, you can see that there's things are spilled here, but you can also see this green thing. It almost looks like these cups could have poison in them or some shit like that. So when this card comes out, it's often, you know, we're crying over something that has been lost, but it has been lost for a reason, because it could have been like, it could have been detrimental for you. So it's kind of like, it's better that it ended than for you to actually maybe consume that and die, you know. I mean, not really literally, but you know. So this card highlights also that this person already has two cups. They have two cups, that not everything is lost. And until this person turns around and realizes that not everything is lost, they're gonna keep grieving in this energy. They're gonna keep kind of like cry or be sad about something that was lost. But you know, when you look at the Two of Cups, and when you connect it to the Two of Cups in the tarot, you're seeing that this person has a connection. There is a connection that is valuable, and you can kind of like fix it. You have something valuable, but you're choosing to stay in the grief, right? In a relationship sense, most of the time, this can talk about somebody who is not over their ex, who is not somewhere, not precisely the ex, but not over the hurt or disappointment of the past. And it's kind of like they're not seeing what they have right now. So if you're pulling this around your person, they could have wounds from the past. It doesn't necessarily be about relationships. You can talk about life in general, and you know, something that they've been through, and they have a hard time seeing that you're there for them, or that they have this opportunity here. They have the Two of Cups. They have some kind of a connection that is valuable, but they're rather not still seeing, you know, because, you know, the black card is kind of like the black, like this whale is giving me the energy of protection. The black is energy, like the color of protection. So they're kind of protecting themselves, protecting their heart, but it's also the shadow aspect. So they're grieving, but they're also in their shadow a little bit. They're in kind of like the darker energies within emotional realms. 5 again are the changes. So sometimes, you know, this card can indicate a person that is getting over something. So it's not always like they're grieving in something, but they can also get over that. Then we have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is a very lovely card, and it talks about love. It talks about soulmates, nostalgia. It can talk about past memories. It can talk about innocence, childlike wonder, blessings, happiness, joy, and like remembrance. It can also talk about past lives, or something past, like a bittersweet energy, a very happy mutual energy exchange. You can see here that like they're kind of like having all these cups with flowers, and flowers in tarot often represent happiness. Also, we have this shield here, which is again protection. You can see stability and structure here. So whatever this happiness is, it is kind of a little kingdom. It seems like a little kingdom of like happiness. So you can talk about like also missing you. You can talk about happy times with somebody, something from the past that is really nice. You love remembering that. You see this little soldier here. He's kind of protecting that memory. So it's telling us like he's also having like the weapon. So it's telling us that this memory is protected by, you know, by green, by the heart energy. It is talking about, it can talk about spiritual blessings. Maybe you will receive some blessings. Maybe somebody will gift you something. You can see this kind of like older kid gifting something to the younger kid. It almost seems like they're gifting them a cup of happiness. So whatever has happened, has brought kind of like beautiful sweet energy, right? So this card, when it appears in readings, when it appears in a connection readings, it often tells you that somebody is thinking about the past with you. They're thinking about the good times with you. They miss you. They truly do. There is the energy of like wishing to be there for you, wishing to give you something. Also, you can talk about somebody wanting to give you something that will make you really happy. It doesn't have to be big. It can be just enough for you to smile. Somebody wants to put a smile on your face. So it's a very, very, very sweet energy. So from the Five of Cups of like reminiscing about the past, we can then see the person like moving away from that and moving into the bittersweet energy, moving into the, I know why this happened, and I'm holding the dear memories with me, right? It can also, like in general readings, you can talk about the past lives. You can talk about things that happened and for some reason are being highlighted here. But a lot of times in general readings, this can indicate universe, that universe will give you something special, or that you will have some kind of a blessing coming in. This card again with the children, it can be related to your inner child. The reading itself, it can indicate or point to an inner child. So now we have the Seven of Cups. So Seven of Cups here. A Seven of Cups is emotional confusion. It is the energy of being clouded or having multiple choices or really not knowing what to choose. You have a lot of options and this person is kind of, wow, looking at all of that, and they're kind of confused. This card often comes up when somebody is emotionally clouded, when something at a hand is confusing the shit out of them, or they might have multiple options. You or the person that you're thinking about might have multiple options. However, you know, not all of these are kind of like what this maybe person wants. You know, the snake is kind of like the temptation energy. Then you have the woman here, so beauty. You have the dragon, which is power, or like you know, strength, I would say, endurance. Then you have like this cup with the crown, so kind of like a sense of authority. Then you have like these like it always looked to me like jewelry, or like some form of flowers or whatever. I think it's jewelry. I think it's like necklaces and shit like that. So shiny things. And then you have also the tower with like structure. So what do you choose? What do you choose? So you might notice that here is this white ghost. It is the Holy Spirit. It is the energy of like whatever the choice is, choosing the higher energy, choosing the higher light, or like choosing the things that feel right to you, choosing something on a level of God, spirit, something pure, right? But it can also talk about like this thing being like very confusing, or like being divinely having some kind of a divine energy here. This figure is also calling you to listen to your intuition when it comes to this one. However, emotions can be really like, emotions can cloud greatly. However, this card also can talk about illusions, not seeing something clearly, or like not seeing something how it actually is, but like, you know, it can, this one can also talk about dreams, or it can talk about daydreaming, strong daydreaming energy, fantasizing about something. Now we have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is letting go energy. So the Six of Swords is more of like just like walking away from something, or like moving into a calmer energy, but still carrying some hurt or some disappointments. The Eight of Cups is about truly leaving something behind, letting go of something, walking away from things that are no longer fulfilling. And look at that. You have the lunar eclipse here, or like the solar eclipse, I don't even know. So the eclipse here represents that change of cycle, that like shift. And this person is walking away into the unknown. They're leaving the cups here, and they're walking away. Now you might notice that it looks like one cup could be missing here. So this person might also walk away to find something fulfilling. They're going after the missing cup. It can almost feel like that. Something is missing, and they're going after that. This card, when it appears, it can talk about walking away from something, a need to let go, a need to walk away. You know, letting go is not always walking away. Sometimes letting go means just allowing things to flow as they should. You know, like this person walking away from to the unknown. You know, keep walking the path, not attaching yourself to the results, not attaching yourself to what should be, but rather, you know, not always seeing what is ahead of you, but traversing that terrain anyway. You can see that this person is kind of trying to climb these like kind of like stiffy, mountainy things. They've crossed the water, so they have crossed their emotional bridge between this that they know that they need to leave behind. They have crossed that emotionally, and they're now on the other side, and they're walking away. In emotional senses, you know, and when you're reading for relationships, this can talk about like maybe you're a person walking away from something that is no longer fulfilling them. Depending on other cards, it can indicate that it's most of the time it is something emotional. So maybe a way of thinking, a way of feeling, patterns, addictions, like things like that, like friendships, connections in their life that they're walking away from in order to find something more fulfilling. Also in relationships, like sense, it is telling you that you need to walk away from something that is limiting this connection. So like if there is anything that is sabotaging, especially emotionally, like it is time to let go. Not always that the cards say that you need to end this connection and walk away. I would say like that the cards will always tell you, like you will intuitively know more than anything. Like cards are only the tool to help you. But often, you know, this card is just about like walking away from something that is no longer fulfilling, and sometimes they can talk about like in relationship sense. Sometimes it talks about distancing themselves, somebody distancing themselves and going away to find the truth. You can see this person having a stick. It almost reminds us of the hermit, so somebody who might be going after their inner truth. So it's not always about us, it's maybe about the other person and their personal journey. And then this person has walked away. They have been finding themselves. And here they are in the Nine of Cups. They have found the missing cup. Nine of Cups is the energy of the pedestal. Wish fulfillment. This is the strongest wish fulfillment card. It is also success. Some kind of an emotional satisfaction. Emotional, like Nine of Cups is like emotional fulfillment in a way, like somebody achieving maybe emotionally achieving their goals or doing something they really love. They're sitting like with their hands crossed. They kind of look like they're very proud of themselves. They seem like a little bit of an authority, like, hey, look what all of that I have. This can, you know, especially with this like pompadour energy here, like this can be somebody who maybe like likes to portray that like they're really like emotionally satisfied, especially in connections. Sometimes this can be a little bit of ego, not that much. It's just like somebody who likes to show off, how much they've grown, how much they've achieved so far. Like these almost look like they're trophies, or this can talk about like idealizing a little bit of a situation at hand. Somebody who is also a little bit guarded, like they're a little bit guarded, a little bit like look at me, look at all these shiny things. But you know, it can also talk about something, feeling like emotionally content, feeling really satisfied with something, whether it's a connection, whether it's a project. If this is about a connection, about their thoughts and feelings or something like that towards you, Nine of Cups can indicate that you feel all the spots. They feel like you're fulfilling their wishes in a way, or like that they might put you a little bit on a pedestal, or they might see you as like the prize of kind, you know. It can also indicate this person really feeling satisfied with your connection or content, or seeing you as some kind of something that really fulfills them. In relationships, it seems emotionally fulfilling. In the dreams realm, in the realm of your general readings, it is often emotional happiness and satisfaction, achieving something meaningful. Now, when you achieve something meaningful and you come into this point in life, you might also feel like content, and you might also want to share. You might want to share that happiness with somebody. This is where Ten of Cups comes in. So it's interesting because all cards tell a story. So you decide to share that with somebody, and then we have the Ten of Cups. We have the energy of emotional fulfillment, happiness, sharing happiness with somebody. Ten of Cups is the energy of emotional fulfillment, of feeling happy celebratory moments with somebody. It is also this kind of energy where two people are kind of like really proud, really happy how far they've come, but also with these two kids playing, it's also like that innocent and playfulness. It seems like maybe this is their home, and they have a home, they have like a happy energy, and this can also indicate that these people are kind of like having like that emotional happiness, stability, but you know, with the kids as well being the same kind of like the same clothing, it can indicate their inner child or children being really happy with each other. You know, the rainbow energy is giving like really like, wow, like the energy of bliss. But yes, Ten of Cups can sometimes also indicate idealization of a situation. So I like kind of like idealizing a certain situation. It doesn't often necessarily have to be so ideal or so happy or so wow, whimsical. It's emotional perception at the end of the day. So happy times, a cycle of happiness and love and emotional fulfillment, and especially family, or sharing that emotional fulfillment with somebody, sharing the moments. So now we have the Court cards of the Cups. So starting off with the Page of Cups, the first thing that I'm noticing is this water being a little bit like, whoo, like, you know, having the ups and downs. The Page of Cups is a dreamer. The Page of Cups is innocent, the sweet little boy. Like, if you think about this boy, he's like, like blushing and shit. So it is an emotional expression of a kind. You also see this little fish coming out of here. So it can be a wish, kind of like a wish energy, or like, somebody seeing you as a wish, or somebody like really like there is this playful curiosity. The Page of Cups is also like very creative, very dreamy energy. So this can also talk about a little bit about daydreaming, somebody like crushing on you, like in a relationship sense. When this comes through, like it can talk about a small emotional expression, somebody admiring you, admiring your sense of self, I guess, you know, because the fish is giving the energy of Pisces. So it's again that like energy of emotions, deep emotions, the water, the healing. Also the fact that like the water is never still, you know, the water always moves, shifts, and changes. It is the emotional energy, but it's also about dreams and a subconscious. So when you think about this little kid, you would think about like imagine a little mama's boy. Imagine a little guy, a little kid, like a 5-year-old that is like really whimsical, really happy, really like just like exploring everything, like very curious, but also at the same time like very loving. This is that kid. Like this is that kid. He's like, yo, yo, look at my new toys. I'm so happy. But also pages are again the messengers. So I can talk about somebody thinking about expressing something to you or thinking about you in a sweet sense, kind of like, you know, it is a crush energy. Now the Knight of Cups is a little bit more put together. The Knight of Cups is the card of emotional expression. It is the card of romantic feelings. Somebody who is quite a romantic, right? A teenager often, energy again. So when the Knight of Cups is a very slow moving energy. So they're kind of like very precise or very like mindful with how or when and where they express their emotions. They're very mindful. But the Knight of Cups kind of has a sense of what they want. While the Page of Cups is kind of like, you know, like sweet feelings, like really caring about someone, like friendship, in a friendship that feels sweet, that like really enjoys somebody's attention. This Knight is awakening to the idea that there are romantic feelings, and this Knight often likes to give. They like to be romantic. This Knight is not always really sustainable. So it's not immature, but it doesn't always necessarily mean that they're going to express how they feel, although this is a clear emotional expression card. They might this kind of person might really sweep you off your feet, like flowers and shit like that. It doesn't always, as I said, means that they're going to be precisely expressive in like a, maybe they won't follow so much with action, but emotionally you might be able to feel it, or they might be expressing it. This card in general can talk about following something that lights your heart up, following your heart, following your emotions, or a project or a thing or an idea or a goal, pursuit of something that you really care about, something that you love. You know, Knight of Cups can be a little bit of a womanizer. It can be a little bit of like a like, let me tell you something, let me tell you something, let me tell you something. Like, you know, he can have like these romantic gestures, but they're not always sustainable. Now we have the King and the Queen of Cups, the divine counterpart of emotional maturity. These two. So starting off with the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is the soft feminine, the soft emotional feminine energy. You can see that the water is here tranquil. You see some stones here, like there's abundance, there is emotional richness in her world. Also, this cup here that she's holding is kind of closed. It has these angel figures as well. So her emotions are very much connected to the deeper inner truth, to the higher spiritual knowledge. She's very emotionally mature. She's very calm, present. She's very soft. She's the attractor. Often when this card comes through, it talks about somebody who probably has feelings. They might keep those feelings a little bit hidden or to themselves. However, they're very sweet. They're very genuine. They're very loving, open, a very sweet, loving mother, if you think about it. A very soft voice, very soft features, probably face features as well. Somebody who is very sweet, like you know those women who are like very like, they're not like hey like really nice, like fake nice. No, they're like genuinely like a sweetheart at heart, and very emotionally cool, very emotionally collected. They don't make drama. They don't interfere in the kind of shit. They're very balanced in their, like a woman that is a master of her emotions. So they're not overspilling, they're not manipulative, they're not like all over the place. She knows herself, and she knows her emotional world. And you know, the Queen of Cups is giving like very much a nurturer or a mother energy, but also the Queen of Cups is like, you know, her presence and the way that she carries herself is kind of like that soft energy that makes men want to do things for her. She's very like She's not, she doesn't have to be necessarily independent like the Queen of Pentacles, but she's more soft and feminine in a way that is making her more, I guess, like, well, I don't know, soft. Men wanting to provide for her, like literally. Literally. And then we have the King of Cups. King of Cups. We're in the okay. So King of Cups is very interesting because King of Cups is also somebody who is emotionally mature, but it's also somebody who is emotionally content. Also, in a relationship sense or in a general sense, it can talk about something like the Queen can talk about like emotional situations or like a deep love here. And however, back to this guy. So this guy is emotionally mature, emotionally content. You can see that the waters of his emotions here, whatever he's ruling, are quite choppy. So in a time of turbulence emotions, this king often keeps to himself. He's very selective of who or what he expresses. You know, King of Cups is somebody who cares really, really deeply, but they don't always show it. This king is very mindful. In a relationship sense, if you get this card, this can indicate to you that the person that you're asking about truly deeply has a lot of love for you, but his emotions are very contained, very controlled, very keeping to himself. Like the choice of expression really it really depends on whether he feels like it, whether he wants to, right? He can like, this is somebody who can be very calm in the turbulent situations. However, they shall not be tested. They shall not be tested. You know, emotional storms can happen to anybody. So the King of Cups can be an emotional storm himself if he is immature or if he's emotionally unavailable or immature. However, you know, these two truly represent like a couple that really loves each other. Somebody like that you can feel the love oozing from them. It is a very mature kind of love that is not here for bullshit, but it's here for the long run. And you know, emotionally, both parties can kind of feel it. And what does it mean, emotional maturity in that sense? It's kind of like, you know, both of these counterparts have controlled emotions, and not for the sake of like controlling or like or like trying to like they are very honest with each other. However, they don't create emotional turmoil. They don't create emotional manipulative tactics, or like they're not trying to play emotionally. They're very transparent, very honest with each other, but they're holding back a little bit just so they don't lose themselves in the connection. Okay. Great. We have now come to the Pentacles, and let's wrap this up. I'm gonna tell you this, and I have a little bit more to say. So yeah, starting off with the Pentacles. So Pentacles are connected to the earthly realms. Pentacles are, how much hours is it? Ooh, 2:54. Damn. Pentacles are the earth realm, the material realm, the physical. So the earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, and Pentacles can represent finances or just like physical energy, like something real, something tangible that you can touch. So the Ace of Pentacles is a new beginning, a potential for a new sense of direction, a new path, something that you have, like an opportunity. It can be an opportunity that is handed to you. It can be a new beginning that is really tangible. It can be a gift, somebody handing you a gift or universe giving you a gift. Most of the time can represent a new financial path, new income stream. You can see these doors right here. So you have that opportunity. You're taking that opportunity and you are going on an adventure. You're going on a new path. So it's kind of like the open door of a new path almost. And you can see the mountains here. So the challenges on this path are yet to await you, but now you just have this wish, you have this tangible opportunity, and you're willing to go the miles with it, right? So the Ace of Pentacles is again potentials. So you know, even if you see Ace of Pentacles in love readings, for example, it doesn't always, like, this person sees the opportunity with you, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to take it. But sometimes, you know, it can indicate that somebody has a gift for you. Getting your flowers, mamas, like literally. So Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is the energy of juggling, the energy of doing something between two things, juggling between two things, having multiple things that you have to handle, tackle. It might be that you're really good at tackling them at this current moment in time. This is something that might be causing your emotions to go left and right. But this card is often often twos are kind of like two sides, or like a sense of like a crossroad or a decision that needs to be made. But in this sense, it is truly about two things at once, quite simply. Then we have Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is the card of foundations, card of building something, being recognized for something. You can see that this person, they're working here. They're working on probably building this church, they're building their spiritual knowledge, building their project. And these two are handing them a contract. So it can talk about contracts, it can talk about collaborations, working with people, maybe something related to your job, like people at your work, collaborating, like again, contracts and stuff. This person, you can see that they're on a higher level than this person. So it often talks about that the person who is taking like you watching this, you're kind of on a bigger, like, how do you say it? Like, you're above somebody, and they're recognizing that within you. Now, the elements of the church in this card represents, again, that spiritual essence of this whole thing. So it can be like a spiritual alliance, it can be a genuine alliance, like a work alliance, but it is also the card of building foundations. So starting something, the Ace of Pentacles, kind of having that opportunity and idea. Two of Pentacles, juggling between like what to do. And Three of Pentacles, starting to set the foundations. So it is the beginning of the process. If it talks about your work or like your projects, it's talking about something that is built brick by brick kind of energy. And then we have the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is a very interesting card because the fours, again, are a very passive energy. And Four of Pentacles itself, it is a very passive energy. So it is the card of like holding on to something really tightly. Also like this person, it seems like they're kind of like, it can talk about scarcity, not willing to share something, holding something really close to your chest, protecting yourself. You can see that this king, he's a king, and he has a whole ass city behind him, so his whole empire behind him. In love readings or connections, it can sometimes indicate a person who, maybe has a life behind them and they're not willing to kind of like open up, or they're holding on to some kind of an idea, holding on to something that might have like connected to other cards around them. It might indicate that something is like, they're holding on to something. It can be sabotaging, it can be like blocking the connection, but alas, they don't see it. Sometimes you can talk about, as again, like the scarcity, not willing to share, but it can also represent financial stability. It can talk about financial stability as well, depending on what cards are around it, because this king has already accomplished something. And look at me, look at all that I have right now. And it's all mine. I made it. I did that, right? So it can talk about financial stability. So feeling very very financially stable, very physically stable. However, there's a part of this king that is holding on really tightly to that pentacle. They're either showing off, or they're like kind of, it's not like, when you look at this card very like closely, it's not that he's very satisfied. So, it can talk about like, like, okay, I got all of this, what do I do now, kind of energy, right? So next we have the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is the energy of loss. It's the energy of feeling lost, feeling left out in the cold, feeling blocked off from something, or feeling left out. Just like the energy of like maybe, financial struggle in a connection in general, maybe like some illness, or like, feeling sick, or feeling like cold, feeling dismotivated, feeling lost, not knowing what to do. Now, this card is very interesting because we do have the two figures who are struggling, who are walking through the snow, through the storm, and they're kind of like walking together. In the relationship sense, it can talk about a sense of loss or a sense of like not knowing what to do in a certain connection or a certain situation, feeling left out of this person's life or this person's energy. However, these two figures are kind of still walking with each other. So whatever is happening, the energy of loss, the energy of like not knowing what to do, the figures or like the two people are still standing by each other, still walking this road with each other. So it's not everything that is lost. This card can sometimes tell you that it's okay to ask for help, because if you see these two, they're struggling, they're outside, they're cold, they're literally bare feet on snow. But there is a church. There is a church right here, and they have a choice to go in and get warm, and then the church will provide them with, especially in that back in that time, the church would feed them, maybe give them something to wear. They are not completely lost. They're not helpless, right? It's a choice. It's whether you choose to help yourself or not, right? So help this connection or not. Like maybe there is an opportunity for a renewal, for a better days, but one or both parties are not seeing it right now, or like financially wise, you know what I mean. Now, Six of Pentacles is the card of help, and reciprocity, especially physical reciprocity. So this person or this figure is kind of helping these people. It is giving the scales here, so balancing like to give equally. And this person is, I think, holding something. So I'm almost wondering if this person is, no, actually they're not holding anything. That's the boot. Fuck. However, this person is kind of like, this person is helping, and they are trying to like give these two people equally. So it's interesting because this card definitely talks about support. It talks about help. Sometimes it can talk about the universe, like this figure being the Holy Spirit, or like universe coming in and helping you. It can talk about receiving results for your hard work, or like being rewarded for something that you're doing, especially in career sense. This often indicates rewards. It indicates being paid or being met halfway for the efforts that you're making. In a relationship sense, this can talk about reciprocity, but depending on the cards around it, it can also talk about if there is like an energy of third parties, it can talk about this person or like the person that you're asking about. It can talk about them giving to one side more than the other. Like it's a very contradictive energy, but it is there, just so you know. So it's basically like it can be a reciprocated energy. You can talk about you and this person feeling really same energy towards each other, like literally feeling the same, willing to meet each other halfway. But if this person is entertaining somebody else, they might be paying them more attention than the other person. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a card of planting the seeds and investing time, energy, and effort into something. You can see that this person is standing on their stick. They're kind of having like these kind of blooming. They're still not in full bloom, I guess. Pentacles are here just representing kind of the physical aspect of this card, where like they're kind of like they have planted the seeds, they have invested in something, and now they're waiting for their results. Or this card can also indicate results. This card can also talk about somebody reevaluating things. So somebody really thinking about like how, like, should I keep investing in this, should I keep doing this, like what is the right thing to do here. But often like this card can indicate that the seeds are planting. Now you're just like watering them, looking over them, and really like letting them grow. It is a card of patience. It is a card of hard work and patience, dedication. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is the card of physical mastery. It is indicating that something that you're working on, you're reaching a point where you're mastering the craft. It is the hard work. It is improvement. Maybe like this card is often either calling you to improve something, or is indicating that you are greatly improving at something and mastering something for yourself. It is giving you results. You're kind of refining your craft. You're refining whatever you're doing, and you are able to display it. It is kind of seeable. People do see it. People see your master, your craft. and hard work. And this is the card where that hard work pays off. And Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is the card of like independence, self-sufficiency, like your word, like the things that you have planted in the Seven of Pentacles are kind of reaping the rewards, and now you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying the time, you're enjoying the results, and it's really beautiful. Also, this card can talk about beauty, the way that you carry yourself, like the physical aspect, feeling really self-satisfied, like really proud of where you've come so far. You can see that this woman kind of like holds this parrot on her hand, and she's like really happy. She's like really connected to nature as well. There is happiness, there is independence, stability, full self-sufficiency in this card. So whatever you've been working on has paid off. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles is the finishing off strong card. It is the closing of a cycle or coming to full circle of a situation. This card is full physical, emotional, mental, like fulfillment on all the aspects. It is long-term success. It is legacy feelings, like legacy type of success. It can also indicate family. It can indicate abundance. Like it is like full on abundance, but abundance that has been created, that you have created, or that like abundance that is or a cycle of like a windfall. It can talk about a lot of like abundant energies coming your way. You know, when you're starting with the Ace of Pentacles, you're kind of taking that pentacle and you're going on a road. Here in this card, you have completed this road, and here people have waited for you on the other side. It's kind of like arrival to the 10, arrival to the full fulfillment, and people are proud of you. You're proud of yourself. You have built this down. You have built this thing. You know, it's interesting because, you know, this structure here, it is a very like old structure. You can see it somewhere like maybe in France or like in older kingdoms. These structures had like two towers, and then they would like go like that, you know what I mean? It kind of looks like a gate. It represents stability, longevity, and long-term success. So legacy type of success and a lot of abundance. It's my favorite card. It's very beautiful. Every time I get it, I like, you know, it's a feeling of like abundance mindset, being full on immersed into the abundant energy of your world, and of course your hard work paying off. Loyalty as well. Loyalty, like a type of stability that is loyal. This can also indicate family or community, or children and family. Legacy. Okay. So we have come to the last court cards here, the Pentacle family. Page of Pentacles. So who is this kid? The Page of Pentacles, it has an idea, has some kind of an opportunity, but they're still not sure what to do with it. So the Page of Pentacles is kind of like the energy of an opportunity, the offer of a kind, or like having something at your fingertips, kind of like literally at your fingertips, but you're still kind of thinking what to do with it. In relationship sense, this card, when it pops out, it can talk about somebody wanting to come forward, or like wanting to give you something, express you something, or like they're seeing the potential that this connection has, but they're not necessarily taking any action as of now. Now, pages are again the messenger, so this person might reach out, but they do not have still a sense of direction where they're going, right? It can talk about gifts. It can talk about presents, receiving presents, like getting physical stuff, or receiving something. It can talk about a small financial gift, or it can talk about a new financial pursuit, something that you're considering in any case. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles, the steadiest and slowest knight in the deck. This knight knows exactly what he wants, and he is aware that whatever he wants, the path to it is long, but the path to it, he needs to commit. This card can sometimes indicate somebody who wants to commit to you, like they see long-term potential with you, long-term road with you, but in a career sense as well. Like this is something that is long term. It is not something that is going to give you temporary satisfaction, temporary financial abundance. It is something that is built over time and that stands the test of time. You can see that like behind him is like the big like field, and it almost looks like it's only like the seeds are only planted here, so it's kind of like in that stage. You know what I mean? So kind of like this person is aware of the road ahead of them. It is a very committed to your path type of energy. When it comes to a certain person, this is somebody who is planning ahead, like planning ahead, and looking into the future, looking into the potential, and kind of like considering offering you something long term, which is really beautiful. Now we have the Queen and the King of Pentacles. The Queen and the King of Pentacles, the power couple of tarot. So these two are very like self-made, both of them, and they're kind of like creating legacy together. Very powerful material energy. You know, in tarot readings, you can talk about a real committed relationship, like marriage, or like a really strong physical energy, like physical connection, like a connection that is really real, that is not in the air, that is not confusing, that is not I don't even know, like it's just like emotional. It is here. It is in a 3D. It is like practical. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. Like somebody, you know, these two might live with each other for all the, you know, like have a family together or shit like that. So Queen of Pentacles is the queen that is self-made. The Queen of Pentacles is an independent feminine energy. It is the queen that is that is nurturing, that is kind, that is loving, but that is also very like a provider almost. Like she lives in the abundance that she has created for herself. You can also see this little rabbit here. The rabbits are symbolizing abundance. You can also see like these flowers and roses, like really so much good stuff around her. Like wherever she goes, things bloom with her. So it's interesting because I swear if the whole time all the cards were blurry, I don't know what to tell you. But either way, Queen of Pentacles is like a independent woman. It's sometimes like when you're looking at the physical features, she can also be a little bit like curvy, like long hair, or like a really like prominent hair, like very abundant. Like she is very, like you can tell that she's taking very good care of herself. This is the mother energy, and she's like very nurturing to the earth and people around her. Like as a perception card, like if you see this card about somebody, like this is somebody who is very abundant in nature, not just physically, but like in spirit. And she is the mother. She is the caretaker and independent one at that. She doesn't need a king, but she wants a king, right? She can take care of herself, but she also knows when to let the king take care of her as well. And then we have the final one, the King of Pentacles. Here we are from Ace to the King. Ace as a new potential, King as the mastery card. This is actually the last card of the tarot deck in general. It talks about full on physical, emotional, mental mastery of oneself. The King of Pentacles is the jack of all trades. He knows a lot of things. He has been through life. He is enjoying his abundance. He is like, if you look closely, there's so much fruit, there's so much things going on him, and you can also see the castle behind him and stuff. This king is fulfilled. And this king is self-assured. This king is very proud of himself, proud of his accomplishments. He knows that he built it himself. Like, he built his house brick by brick. And yeah, the King of Pentacles is a very physical mastery. Like CEO energy, a boss energy, somebody who leads. This is also Taurus energy. Tauruses are very luxurious. They're known to be very, like, they love luxury. So the King of Pentacles can also talk about that, about the physical aspects of this world, the luxury of life. You can also see him kind of like looking down at his pentacle. So it's kind of like he's proud of what he has. And he's also like Also very emotionally, physically stable. This is the king that shows love, shows compassion through actions. This is not somebody like, maybe not overly romantic, but they do show up for you. Like the King of Pentacles, they show up for you. And they might also love to shower you in gifts and presents. They're kind of materialistic a little bit, but they're very grounded. This king is very grounded, such as the queen, like very grounded in a way. There is like present, there is nurturing. He's a great father. He's a great, nurturing, loving, stable father energy. And this king has made it. This king truly made it, or at least feels like it. Okay. So guys, we are coming to an end of this tutorial. God knows how long it will take for me to post this. So yeah, my dudes, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share this video with your friends who want to learn, and I'll see you in the next one.